Ho, ho, ho! Wake up, gamers, because it's finally the last time we have to listen to Freeze Easy Peak. With your hosts, Dan and Bob Video Games.
Thank God.
Thank God. Jesus. Chris Wolfhard.
The song should start in October.
And Dr. Aggro.
Solstice? Nah, I don't really play FromSoft games.
Here on GigaBoots. That is slander.
Yeah, against FromSoft.
Wait a minute. I've never heard a song in a FromSoft game that bangs as much as the title screen of Solstice. That's an unfair standard, though.
It is.
Being completely real. For a moment, that is completely unreasonable standards to hold anything up to. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the final Big Think dimension of the year, where hopefully everything's working. Woo! Hey, look at that. And it is, in fact, the opening. The card is correct over there.
Incredible.
Great. Dan, how bad is it? Well, I restarted the PC to make sure it'd be fine before we went live. Then we go live. Everything's fine. I hit record and it goes, an unknown error occurred while recording. And I go, oh, I'm in danger.
That happened to me. That happened to me buying a Steam game today. It's like the purchase failed.
Yeah.
I'm like, why did the purchase fail?
That actually
It's
happened
like, we
to
don't
me
know.
Yeah, on Steam as well.
Mm-hmm.
I assume it's just Steam sale started. It's getting crushed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to me, it wasn't even during the Steam sale. I can't remember when it happened, but I had to wait, I think, 16 hours before it properly let me buy the thing. Yeah. Yeah, it was nuts. I would just keep coming back every couple hours and be like, now, and it's like, no, I guess. I don't know. And I'm like, I need more definitive terms. Did I buy the thing or not? I wish I could remember what game that was. Might have been Void Stranger when I got that, but no. Anyways, hello. Welcome to Big Think Dimension number 253, where there's a space between the pound sign and the number for some reason. Not on YouTube, though.
Change your pace.
It's the new style. Everyone gets confused when we put them together. They're like, is this a hashtag? We played some games.
We did. Unfortunately, we played way too much of one game.
We 100% in Mario Sunshine.
Oh, they didn't intend for that.
They really obviously did not. Like, I don't know who on the team. It is not a failure of whoever came up with the blue coins. When you're told, make 5 pounds of shit, fill a 10-pound box, you have to come up with some fucking goofy shit. The failing came from the person higher up who said, do it.
Yeah.
I think that the true failing comes of they can appear after you spray something. Like if the coins were just there, sure. Whatever,
well,
sure.
one of the things about red coins in Mario 64 that makes it not annoying is you can see them from anywhere. The LOD literally is infinite.
Yeah.
Like you can see a red coin from the other end of the map, which is important. And they are self-evidently a red coin.
Mm-hmm.
Blue coins not only look like normal coins, I believe. I could be wrong on that. They just appear when you spray shit, like you're talking about. Like, oh, you didn't spray this stretch of wall that's unremarkable. It looks like the entire rest of the... We're talking about Noki Bay specifically, where it's like, spray this part of the wall. Why? I don't know either, but there was a blue coin there.
Every
The
level
one
had
that killed me, it was the very first level when it's just, here's this like rock in the water that you'd never jump into or spray water on. It's not like you wouldn't even platform across it accidentally, like just as the part of playing, you will never touch it.
Right.
Spray it though, and there's a blue coin.
Yeah, so for people who are really unfamiliar with Mario Sunshine, I want to take you in from like the differences between it and other Mario games. So it has the fewest levels of any 3D Mario game, I'm pretty certain, unless there's just
That
like,
has to be right.
Like 3D Land has to have more levels,
Oh,
of course.
absolutely.
But those are
Because
a
those are
different style of
tiny.
gameplay, yeah. And they wanted to have the same amount of shines as there are stars in Mario 64, which is 120. But there's something like 7, 9 levels, maybe. So every level has something like...
I think there's 7 because you have to do the God, what do they call that? What do they call Ghost Mario, Evil Mario?
Oh, you're talking about
whatever.
Bowser Jr.
Shadow Mario is what they call it.
Shadow Mario, yeah. Like Shadow Link.
You have to chase Shadow Mario on every level to unlock the final level, and that's always the 7th shine on a level. So there's and
then there are 2 secret shines.
50 shines. Yeah, and then there's 2 secret shines.
And then there's all of the blue coins, which there are 30 per every normal level.
And that I believe that's 3 more
shines.
Yeah, each level.
So that's 12 shines.
12 shines a level.
And then somehow that's still not enough. So the hub has even more.
Isn't there still a 100 Isn't there still in addition a 100 coin shine?
Yes.
So 13 per level.
And every level is now the worst level from Mario 64 tiers of not having coins.
It's true, yeah. When you play Mario 64, there are a number of levels that go significantly over 100. This is not the case with Sunshine. Sunshine, almost all of them hew really close to exactly 100.
Right, and you better select the right shine, because it might not spawn enough coins if you don't.
Yep, which I believe I feel like 1 star in Mario 64 may be like that, where if you select it, it doesn't have the right things. But it's not like every level is that.
No.
And these are like the notional larger problems with the game, that it has an insane amount of padding. I normally love 100% of a game, and I can get a lot of joy out of that I don't get out of having to rush through to do a normal playthrough on a stream.
Mm-hmm.
Because of having to engage with the blue coins so thoroughly with this game, I actually like it less than I did before playing it, because now we spent long enough in the pit to phase through solid matter several times throughout the fucking playthrough.
That completely makes sense. Those blue coins are anti-joy. Like, they seem indefensible on any level, and it is that continues my insistence that Sunshine is a bizarre anti-Nintendo game, where it's like they do shit they have never done before or since.
Yeah, there were a lot of times while we were playing, it was like, this is a rare game. This is Grabbed by the Ghoulies, but worse.
It is Grabbed by the Ghoulies, but with a water pack. And it's weird because a lot of this is stuff I thought Nintendo incapable of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like to think of Nintendo from earlier eras and later eras as a company that wouldn't maliciously put in padding that just drags down the entire game.
Right.
But in the GameCube era, they did that multiple times. There's a Triforce Quest and Wind Waker, and then there's Sunshine's Blue Coins.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, your game would be fine being shorter.
Yeah, and even Twilight Princess doesn't escape that. There's every time you get a new dungeon, there is find all the little star brights or whatever they are, the glow bugs.
But that's also a GameCube game.
Exactly.
Aggro told me it's sin if I play the Wii one because that's the false link.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
true.
I'm saying. Every one of these is a GameCube game. There was not a game that escaped it except Melee.
It's true. I saw people making fun of Bowser's Run animation over the last week on Twitter and how he becomes a car, basically, because he just shakes
funny,
it.
though.
Yeah, I love it. And people in the replies did point out it's kind of like kaiju. Because, various kaijus would do weird shit to move really fast.
Right.
Like the tail slide from Godzilla and some other things like that. I always took it as that sort of thing.
Like, looking back on it, it is pretty obvious that, like, forget HD game development. Nintendo wasn't ready for Gen 6 development.
Yeah, it's true. And that makes, like, when you look back on this, and it really is only in the last year that I've been replaying these GameCube era games and going, and I realized, yeah, that is the case. And you can just sort of like understand why at the end of the GameCube era, the last thing Nintendo would want to do is scale up to HD. So their statements about, we have all the right tools, it's just how you use them. We have all the paints and brushes you would possibly need. We're just going to release this console again.
Mm-hmm.
It makes perfect sense. How do I put this? I love Super Mario 64. I love Galaxy, less so. And I love Odyssey immensely. Sunshine is the only Mario game where how unpolished it feels really does ruin it for me. The number of different movement things. Like, it's really weird because Mario 64 is like one of the first real 3D platformers.
Right.
So if anything, it should be graded on a curve, but in a lot of ways it functions better than Sunshine. It could be because for people who don't know, Sunshine was shown off running at 60 frames per second before launch.
Uh-huh.
And then it launches at a locked 30, and maybe that caused problems with the physics engine.
Possible.
which is entirely possible. You know, the way they did collision on Mario 64 was very lockstep with the frame rate, of course. So there's a chance that in order to lock it down to 30, it caused some problems with the physics and collision stuff.
Yeah, during the final battle, I fell through the ground multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, throughout playing the game, that happened.
Yeah, but it's like, this is your finale to your game.
In a wholly bespoke area made for this finale, which weirdly enough made you do things that causes more problems. For example, there's a power-up in this game. There's a nozzle. It's a rocket. You get it on your back and you hold the trigger and it builds up and then it goes off. It goes, and then you fly into the air. In the last level, they designed a mound to let you know to butt stomp in these regions. They put a circular badge-looking button on the ground. Tell me that doesn't sound like a Banjo-Kazooie design. Anyways, to let you know to butt stomp there, because otherwise there was no way you would figure that out.
Right.
And not only does the mound cause it to never take off on the rocket correctly from the ground, like you better jump, basically. When it breaks apart after you do that, it becomes all sorts of unstable. We uploaded a short that one of our viewers clipped, like on our Twitch channel, that is Bob going, Mario Sunshine is just so unpredictable after it has one weird thing it does, and then right after that he phases through the ground and dies.
Yep.
I mean, it's like everybody who has ever played Super Mario 64 and gotten to that level has clipped through those pirate ships in the theme park.
You mean Sunshine?
Oh, Sunshine.
Oh yeah, Sunshine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that
not
happened.
a single person has not happened to.
We may have just avoided jumping on it entirely this time, because if we faced
no,
through
you clipped through it at least once.
Okay, because we clipped through it the first time we played through this game 4 years ago. And that time stayed fresher in my mind than this time, because it might have been overridden by it happening multiple times during the final boss and other.
Yeah, I just remember various of those challenges where you don't have the flood and you get on a turning platform and you just fall through it. Like you're on top and just...
I was having a conversation about this game post the stream, because, you know, if anything, my number one feeling coming away from Mario Sunshine is I wish it just got more time. And now the number one remaster I want to see out of Nintendo is a Mario Sunshine remaster where it looks good, runs correct, and feels good.
No,
that would be a radically different game.
You can't have them acknowledge it.
From the ground up, remake it.
To take out all the blue coins.
Maybe
give you a long jump back.
You could make the blue coin, hear me out, you could make the blue coins blue and have some way to track them and have hints ever. Maybe even a device that pulses when you get near them.
Uh-huh.
But they did none of these things, so it's miserable.
Ocarina of Time?
Yeah, some sort of pack that could rumble.
Yeah, if only they had some sort of pack on the GameCube that could rumble.
To relieve this agony.
God. I can't get... They took out every movement option that goes forward.
Yeah, they took out the long jump.
They took out any movement option goes up easily.
They took the backflip, which is your super stable way to get a higher jump, and that's an integral part of playing Mario 64.
Instead, you have this awful spin the analog stick and jump, which could send you in any direction.
Because yeah, you need to spin it on the ground, and then you better make sure the last direction your stick is facing is where you want to go, and you've held it long enough for Mario to face that way, because Mario's not super snappy in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a bad feeling game.
Standing on any moving object in Mario Sunshine reminds me of having to stand on a moving object when I used to play World of Warcraft. Because there was all these things you would have to remember, like if you played Horde, to go from the overworld to the Undercity, you had to take a really long elevator, and if you were leaving, that meant riding the elevator up. So once you got on the elevator, you had to make sure to jump. Don't just stand on the platform, jump at least once. Yes. Because you might be clipping through the platform when you just walked on top of it.
Yep.
And it's especially and that's literally a thing where like elevators are just considered super dangerous in World of Warcraft for that reason.
Uh-huh.
And just because people will constantly hold a little too far and go flying off them.
Like the moment you said it reminds you of World of Warcraft. Like, I've never played Sunshine. that was like getting slapped in the face because I knew exactly what you were talking about. And you're talking about a goddamn Nintendo game.
Yeah.
Not a network-based MMORPG from Blizzard.
Yeah. It also especially reminds me of this. There's this one mission in the Cataclysm expansion that's like, go find out what happened on this airship, and the airship is flying around in a circle over part of the zone, and there are enemies on this airship. That game is not designed to have you fighting things on a moving entity.
Right, yeah. Of course.
Enemies break. It's like they clip through everything and just stand out in the sky. In that same expansion, it had a segment where you have to ride a submarine across like the Mariana Trench. And if you're really unlucky, while you're riding it, the ship can just go, "You're not in it anymore," and it leaves you and you die. Like you'll be riding it, it'll be fine, it'll just keep going, and you'll stop going. And then that's another one of those things that reminds me of Sunshine.
Oh yeah, another thing that can happen if you're too close to a wall. All of your jumps stop working right. Like you'll try and do a triangle jump where you try and run back and then run the other way to do your higher jump.
Yeah,
and Mario will be like, "But I'm touching a wall, so I jump straight up."
And the reason for this is definitely tied to how in Mario 64 you only have a certain window in which after you hit a wall to hit jump to wall jump. And that makes it one of the harder things to do in that game. Like even as someone who's beaten that game something like, I don't know, 17, 20 plus. I think I'm at 20, 21 plus times. About 23. Anyway, it's still really annoying to do a wall jump in that. And one of the ways you would fix that, and although any modern 3D platformer worth shit, like anything made remotely recently, like the last 15 years plus, is when you jump at the wall, you change the state of your platformer character to now be on a wall slide. And anytime you hit the jump while in that wall slide mode, you will then do the wall jump. They tried to do that in this game. But one, it really doesn't feel right. And two, it causes that problem where it's like, you're near the wall. I can't do any of the jumps you're trying to do.
Right? Like a spin jump? No, I'm sorry.
No.
Regular jump.
Right. So yeah, this was disheartening. I'm serious though. This is the only game I want Nintendo to remake now. Because I just, this game controlled correctly and had physics that worked. That's not this game anymore. So I'm interested in that.
It's really fucked up to be watching you do this. And of course, I had to go to sleep. And then 8 hours later, I awoke and you were still playing Super Mario Sunshine.
The true experience.
To watch this and just think, playing through Banjo-Tooie again would be a superior experience to 100%ing Mario Sunshine. I think beating Donkey Kong 64 would be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember having a lot more fun during that stream.
Yeah.
Because there's
me too.
Enjoyable things in that game. I don't think there are enjoyable things in Sunshine. They took out everything fun.
I think I had... now, keep in mind, the stream for me, the stream experience was fine. I enjoyed playing... I enjoyed streaming Mario Sunshine. But when it comes to the actual act of playing it, bereft of all other context and meanings and funny things that occurred and wrath you... I'm going to go ahead and say DK64 was more enjoyable to play. And it's worth noting, I was sick during that stream. Like, I got really violently ill and was not feeling good for most of it.
Seeing you grapple with the blue coins is one of those times where you see the streamer realize that, like, my hand has to go in the Gom Jabbar box and it can't come out for 16 hours.
So if you're hearing this and you're like, I need to go back to Sunshine, here's the #1 pro tip. Do not collect even one blue coin. Then, when you're done with the level, watch a YouTube video where they collect every blue coin and do it in the exact way they do it.
Yeah. That's only acceptable.
Here's a bold option. Never 100% Super Mario Sunshine ever. Just get the shines and be like, I did all the worthwhile content. And then you're done. Use
an action replay or a dolphin cheat code to just give yourself every blue coin in every level.
Yeah, we need the PCD comp that has the Super Cream 64 option of just going, that's right, we're going to cheat.
If we get a PCD comp of Sunshine, it can run at 60.
It could, yeah.
Which, speaking of which, you can actually use
the collision.
You can use an action replay to run the game at 60 on any platform. The question is, how stable is that? And as it turns out, the game's not stable to begin with. I should have done that.
You could just play a good Mario game.
One sec. Yeah, that's the background radiation of my life, yeah. I'm just like, I could be playing Mario 64. I literally have the Nintendo Switch Online and 64 controller right there on the entertainment center. And every time I look at it, I go, oh, the mister can play Mario 64. I should just do a playthrough real quick. Just real quick. But no, instead I had to play other games after Sunshine because we are in preparation for the GigaBoots Game of the Year extravaganza starting January 8th, I believe, because January 1st is too early in January.
Yes.
If it was even the 4th, then maybe, yeah. But anyway, so look forward to that. Did you have anything else you want to say about Sunshine before we move on? Okay.
I think it's totally fair that I kept thinking, yeah, you get that super boost thing at the end of the game because apparently you get different jet nozzles. You get nozzles unlocked per stage and not per the entire game.
Yeah, you unlock them in the stage when you find the correctly filled in box in the correct chapter of the thing.
Uh-huh. So that game is just terrible in every way.
I guess we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to try to talk about it without talking about it. I call dibs on the first words. I've been playing Void Stranger. I believe Aggro and Chris have also been playing Void Stranger, which I'm going to say like it's dark fact.
How are you avoiding strangers?
Stranger, I barely know her. Anyway, this is going to be the most layered fucking statement about this game, and yet it's the most articulated possible way. It's the most precise way to articulate exactly what Void Stranger is without talking about it, okay? Void Stranger is like, and I'm not literally saying the devs are like this, but it is like if people who enjoyed Undertale wanted to make a Sokoban game in the style of Tower of Draga and Fez. And if you can decipher the historical and mechanical meanings of that statement, you know what Void Stranger is.
So I have to tell a story about my experience with Void Stranger.
Sure.
Have you ever had an experience where you like had to realize something dark about yourself? Like you had a reaction to something and you're like, oh no, man, that was the result of an entire lifetime of propaganda making that my default assumption.
Okay.
I had that about being like a retro game boomer. Because I played like 3 levels of Void Stranger and then I went, oh, it's like Fire and Ice on the NES and also Adventures of Lolo. Like that is a normal fucking thing for human beings to be able to have as reference points.
And yet I feel like those are more sane than me being like, it's like Sokoban or Heiankyo Alien.
I guess the Adventures of Lolo counts as a Sokoban.
It does, yeah.
But there's so little pushing in Void Stranger, I almost don't want to give it that categorization.
You push rocks around a lot to solve specific rocks and statues around a lot. For anyone who doesn't know what the fuck a Sokoban is, it is, in this case, a single screen action game where you push around blocks of things and move tiles and things in order to solve the puzzle that is the screen in front of you, and then you move on to the next floor.
Yeah. Yes, imagine a Zelda room. You move on a grid. You have a wand that lets you pick up a tile from the floor and hold it in storage, leaving a blank spot, an empty spot in the floor. And you can put that tile anywhere you want. You cannot turn around. You have to, if you like, for example, if you want to face up, you have to go down and then up. You cannot change which direction you're oriented just by tapping a direction.
And that is very, very intentionally designed into the puzzles.
What was that wand block in Link to the Past? The wand that
I never remember. I think it's just Red Cane or something.
Oh, maybe.
Cane of Samaria? Okay. I will trust you, chat. But But yeah, Baba Is You is kind of a Sokoban. It is less Sokoban core than Void Stranger by a significant degree. But there are certainly things that you could say are Baba Is You like about this.
And there are enemies, but much like the Adventures of Lolo, they only move when you move.
And it is worth saying that this is a Game Boy aesthetic game. There are 4 shades, and you can customize. You can select from a huge palette whether it is Game Boy Gray or Game Boy Green or purple. Guess which I chose.
Mysteries.
I have played over 12 hours of Void Stranger, and it is upon playing this much that I have discovered what is needed of me to get more out of the game. And I stress that this has nothing to do with Game of the Year crunch. I am not going to put in that time necessary anytime soon. That will be if I feel like I have nothing to do, I will go back and do that. This game has fantastic vibes. It is really cool. There's a pretty enjoyable story that reveals itself in over a very enormous amount of time. But much like Tower of Draga has obtuse ways that you are supposed to figure out how to unlock the item for that floor, one might say that parallels Void Stranger. And guess what? I like Tower of Draga. I ain't never beaten it and never thought of it.
Yeah, my intent is to play it, Void Stranger, until I have reached the wall of what does it want, or I know what it wants. I can't figure that out. At which point I will go get a spoiler-free guide and it will tell me how to progress and see the rest of the game.
The spoiler-free guide will talk to you with numbers like it's the fucking Black Ops numbers. You will wake up like a sleeper agent. I say this because I literally looked at it at one point and just went, yeah, that is certainly just a pile of fucking numbers with some letters. This is deranged. Can anyone in the Void Stranger fan base speak English?
Maybe I'll just find a video guide that shows me exactly what moves to make.
Yeah, those exist. They also have spreadsheets that literally tell you what moves to make for every floor, but as though that'll help. That's Void Stranger. We can't talk about it because if we talk about it... Aggro, did you have anything you wanted to add on this?
No, that's, I mean, without going into heinous spoilers, that's pretty much covered it.
I enjoyed my time with Void Stranger until I stopped enjoying it as much. And it passed that threshold where I'm like, I'm good. I'm a little frustrated that seeing all of it became what it was. And I understand why that's really neat for a lot of people online. I totally get that. But I kind of just walk away being mildly frustrated. Because I would not say in the slightly over 12 hours that I played it, that I got what I would call a satisfying ending. I, in fact, maybe got more than one and maybe was not satisfied at all. But anyway, that's it. That's all I'm going to say. Bob, did you have anything you wanted to say about the immense time you spent with Void Stranger?
I have not played this game, and
okay.
I don't think I will.
You don't love Sokoban?
No, it being a genre that I only found out about this year. And I'm like, oh yeah, I like Lolo, and it's been 30 years.
You got to watch more retro gaming boomers on YouTube. What are you doing,
Which
man?
seemingly includes me, considering my first impression was, it's like these two games no human is in 20 years have ever played.
Hey, I remember Fire and Ice. They put it on the Nintendo Online thing. I was like, oh, hey, it's like that thing I played for 20 minutes once.
Fire and Ice is very cool. If it actually is on the Switch Online, I recommend people go check it out.
If you know what Hey Onkyo Alien is, sound off in the comments. No one knows. To be clear, this is more like Lolo than it is like Hey Onkyo Alien, but you know. Oh, people in chat. There are a few people. There are like 4 people.
Great.
Wow. I know it because Zune referenced it in Toho 12. That's perfect. Okay.
That sure seems appropriate for a thing that a Toho game would reference.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Anyway. I think that's it for Void Stranger. Weirdly enough, this week I spent all my time recovering from sunshine. And by recovering from sunshine, I don't mean I wasn't working. I was working while recovering from the sunshine stream. Doing the news roundup for the entire year, which, by the way, after this episode of, if you're watching live, after this episode of Big Think Dimension, we're going to come back up and we're going to do the entire year of news and review, which is always a great segment as we look back on, hey, when did we find out this year's Call of Duty was fake? How many companies got acquired? And some actually fun news like Yuji Naka copied an insider trading. So anyways, be sure to stay around for that. And if you're not watching this live, look for that video too. It's going to be up on the same channel. But that's basically all I got done. That was it. That was, Bob, did you play video games?
I play video games.
You play video games?
I finally got around to I finished Disgaea 7. I had to just put it on the back burner because I'm not doing the post game content right now.
Oh wait. Sorry. One last thing. You remember when I talked about Paper Beast last week for a bit?
Uh-huh.
I was 15 minutes from the end of that game.
Crazy.
We will wrap back around to that at Aggro segment. Okay. So you beat Disgaea 7.
Yes.
Okay.
So now I booted up Star Ocean 2 Remake, which has Second Departure R, I think.
Yeah, I believe that's the name. I'm not calling it that. That's a lot of
I don't know. I do not think it has Second Departure because that's the PSP one. I think it is Star Ocean 2 The Second Story R. So it uses the PS1 name.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Star Ocean 2 Remake.
Yep.
I got to start that. I understand fully why I dropped this game twice.
No?
The intro and opening it sucks. What? It is so slow. Claude and Ren are boring.
What?
But once you finally get to like the king and then they introduce Celine, things start happening and it stops being intensely boring.
Bob.
Yeah, that's when Claude starts dipping into being an incel a little bit.
Yeah, though at that point Claude just starts sucking, which is funny in its own way. Instead of like just being an incredibly boring character, he just sucks. I was like, because this doesn't come through in the PS1 script at all. Where like anytime Rena talks to another guy, he gets like egregiously upset. Like it doesn't make sense levels of upset. Yeah, no, he goes full incel. It's really something. It's like,
so the anime
what are you
was
doing? Yeah,
are you saying the anime was
really
more
accurate.
authentic than the PS1 script? Because I don't think Eric's gonna like hearing that.
Yes. I playing through this game, I was like, oh my god, the anime is actually surprisingly close to this. But you know,
Until
it looks terrible.
isn't.
Yeah, of course. It's gonna deviate eventually.
With the deviating is setting up the second season that can't be canonical to the game, and then no second season ever happens.
That's still really funny.
That's unreal. Is what
Imagine
that is.
if they did it. Imagine if they do a second season now. Because
that would be so good.
Because this game does well. Because remember, they did a Legend of Mana anime last year.
Yeah. So, but they would just make a new anime. That would be one.
Yeah,
they would make one that
new.
looks good.
Right, they just start over.
The fucking Legend of Mana one didn't look good.
Oh, did it not?
It was pretty rough.
Oh, really? I forgot that happened. I never checked it out while it was.
Yeah, I've only seen stills. Even I didn't actually watch it. I was just like, "Yo, this looks ugly." There's still parts of the script that I'm like, "Is this badly translated, or is it just really badly written?" And I guess it's probably the second one because this translation was redone back in the PSP era. But it's just really weird where it's like, "Oh man, this whole town just collapsed." The captain of the ship that you were about to depart on is like, "My whole crew's dead except that guy." Anyway, here's what you need to do for next RPG stuff you do. So go to this town, then this town.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
Like,
whatever. He's like a Walmart employee.
right. He just does not care. And I feel like that energy has come a ton of people in this game.
Yeah, I was looking for like, normally Tom's here. Oh, Tom's dead. What do you fucking want?
That really is how a lot of PS1 RPGs are, because other than Squaresoft, a lot of people didn't know how to use the power of the PS1. Meanwhile, Squaresoft was like, we were sick of the fucking SNES when Final Fantasy IV came out. But it is funny to play lots and lots of PS1 RPGs, and in a lot of ways they have evolved in like an interesting way. But then in one or two ways they revert back to NES, where a character will just come out and say, "Go here."
Now to get my official stance, because I'm sure people are wondering, right? The opening of Star Ocean 2 is great because anime's pretty cool. That chick has blue hair and I'm some cool guy on an alien planet. That's enough to get me through at least 8 hours.
I mean, you say cool guy.
Yeah, no, that guy, he is so lame.
He sucks from second one. It's awesome.
Now that it doesn't come through in the PS1 script at all, I feel, but in this one he's like constantly mopey and butthurt she isn't giving him enough attention.
That's funny.
Meanwhile, every time you meet a new girl, he like turns into a puppy and starts slobbering on them.
Weird.
It is a lot.
That's what was like, oh, this is just Slayers. Like they're just projecting like that kind of story exactly onto these characters.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I feel like no one is this despicable in Slayers, but maybe I don't remember.
So just more of a Sorcerer Hunters vibe.
Yes.
Just to be clear, this is closer to what Lost Universe should be, quality-wise, than what Lost Universe is. That it's sci-fi Slayers. But you should still watch Lost Universe.
Like the most Slayers moment for this and me is I think Bob decided to get the other character he can get instead of Ashton.
No, I went with Ashton because people, when I did that poll online, I was like asking for people if I should choose Ashton or Opera. People came out and talked about Ashton, how cool he was and how funny he was. No one said a word about Opera.
He is pretty funny because he's so like all his dialogue is, oh, I get bruised really easily and only bad things happen to me. Also, his luck is set at the lowest possible rank forever.
Is this the double dragon dude? Where
Yes.
No, that guy's fucking hilarious. I couldn't imagine a playthrough without him.
But when you meet him, like there's a part where everybody is he's fighting in a narrow hallway that your party can't like interfere with. And everybody starts literally like, we should cheer him on like cheerleaders. Like, go, defense. And then there's a very anime moment where he turns around and is like, you're distracting me. Can you please stop? And then he gets owned.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, no, that Ash and Selena are really good. I think that I didn't start enjoying Reyna and Claude until
What did they say? Claude in the anime. Claude.
Until they meet up with Ashton, and Reyna names the dragons Weepy and Creepy.
Yeah, and Creepy and Weepy.
Creepy and Weepy, and then Claude's like, that's stupid. and she gets insanely angry. So I'm like, good, we need more of this exact moment.
That there's a lot of that where he's just a big piece of shit for no reason, and she like yanks the leash almost.
Yeah, their romance and them being the main couple, this is insane.
I know. I really appreciated in this playthrough how fucking weird and dysfunctional the main couple are.
Also, I got to Welsh. She is playable in this one.
Okay.
Because I guess in the original she wasn't, but they added her in the PSP one.
She wasn't even in the original.
Wow.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
wow.
Welsh Vineyard. I don't think she was introduced into the series till 3.
I think she's in 1 in a random town.
Maybe
like,
in the PSP version of 1.
Oh man, maybe she wasn't at. That'd be insane too. Huh. But anyway, I did not expect her to still have the same VO that they used last year in the game, in that Star Ocean game, the brand new one. She's just been the same voice actress since this game in 2008.
Oh wow, that's okay. All right. Huh.
Except she was someone different in 3 and 4.
Right, but those were actually made before. Wait.
Oh yeah, the PSP ones.
Yeah, because the PSP remake came out after those, I believe.
Oh, this was terrible. Don't worry, it'll be on screen in due time.
She is a really good party member to have. Is she just causes problems?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does have the problem that any party member added in like a re-release of a game has, where it's like she's not relevant to the story at all.
Oh, I'm
and
sure.
Can barely interact with it.
The only things I've done so far are private actions with her, and then I had to stop playing. But some of the private actions were really good. As she got Ashton to sing a song with his dragons. While he cried.
Okay, so here's what we got to do. Okay, it's worth noting. Welch shows up for the first time in Star Ocean 3, but let's go ahead and show Welch as she is in Star Ocean 2 remake. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice art. You can tell from her smile she's a psychopath. This is actually a pro tip. If you're watching a streamer and they have that smile, don't enter their Discord. Anyways, here's how she looks like in 3, because it's Star Ocean 3. Why is
yeah, you never got to see this kind of art. Where would you see it? It was on the PS2.
Yeah, it was.
It's just
like it's not going to be in game.
Like
I
that was
could
on the
see,
strategy guide.
I could see that and just go, man, that is fucking. She must look terrible in game.
I really like the way she looks in 4, which is completely different than every other version of her.
Yeah, the ones is a really different design for 4, but I think it worked. Also, they don't introduce any of those fun sicko mechanics until you get Celine.
So, that's true.
So I was just going like, oh my god, this is so boring. And then everything turned on.
And in the PS1 and PS1 and PSP versions, they don't introduce them ever.
Yeah, but you can't even go to the menus to turn them on and start using them until after that sequence in this version.
Yeah. But they also give you everything at the start in this one. In this one, in the originals, they drip feed you them for like they drip feed you them without telling you they're there for like the next 8 hours. So it's like you can go to the guild where you get the missions. Before that is where you bought the ability to level up skills.
Wow.
Like in packs of 4, like fucking trading cards.
Wow. Man.
Yeah, it was bizarre. Maybe the PSP version changed that. I don't actually know.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm getting into it now that all the mechanics is there. Bunny is hilarious. You can just turn on. This is one of those weirdo things. You have to get a bunch of random skills that let you do it. Mm-hmm. But then you call basically the highest level chocobo and the first town in this game, so you can just walk around anything on the map.
Yeah.
It's just that doesn't let you do anything. It doesn't let you skip anything. It doesn't let you go anywhere you're not supposed to go. You can just do that. Although in this, like I said when I played it in this version, they added treasure chests to the world map to give you a reason to explore all over, with also fishing points.
And that's sick. That's an awesome upgrade.
There are also these giant monsters in the world that are like insanely overpowered and super leveled.
Are they called weapons?
No.
They are called raids, I believe.
Yeah, and they are called raids.
I think they actually added new weapons to this game, and beating those is how you get them for your party members.
Huh. So yeah, there's a lot of neat stuff here.
You know, before we went live with Big Think, we were like, Star Ocean 2 definitely has most mind-numbing bark in it. We're going to have to mine this game to get it all. You mentioned this Chocobo ride, and I see chat blow up with, come on, Barney!
Sadly, yes, because what happens is you go to a menu and pick Call Bunny and then hit Call Bunny, and you have a really low percentage chance, unless you upgrade a bunch of skills that have no other usage but feeding into this.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have like a 20% success rate. So you'll have to mash that a bunch of times to get it to work. There's no penalty or resource required to do it. You can just do it.
Keep doing it.
But
what a good game.
It just plays a sound clip of one of the party members basically going, come on, Bunny, come here, Bunny. Except in the PS1 version, in a bizarre psychotic twist, like many of the strange things in the PS1 version, such as Claude saying his name is Crod or Claude
or whatever,
they translate Bunny as Barney. So a character will yell, come on, Barney, and which sadly was not pulled through into the PSP one.
That's unfortunate. I appreciate that one character can't say the word bunny correctly. That's lore building. I feel like between Star Ocean 2 and Silent Hope, we've got some pretty good most mind-numbing barks.
Oh, absolutely. There's gonna be some in there.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Like when you start a fight with a weak opponent and Claude goes, "Oh, it's just them."
These guys again.
These guys again. Can we count most mind-numbing bark? As a candidate, can we have that song in Cyberpunk Suck and Fuck, where they just go ass, 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 ass?
I don't think so. I don't think
Damn
that's the same thing.
Damn it! It's a real earworm, though.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's definitely not like the insane, oh my god, this is incredible RPG for me, but I think it's really neat, and I'm gonna keep playing it. Maybe it will get there, because I am at least getting to the point where I'm like, okay, upgraded her penmanship so she can write really well. Now she can make books that will upgrade every other stat for everyone else.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious.
Feels good, man.
I'm like,
Have you unlocked Contraband yet, where you open that skill and it says, "This breaks the game"?
I have all the necessary things to do it, but I haven't opened that menu yet.
Did you play anything else?
I also played, let me get this right, The Legend of Nayuta Boundless Trails.
Oh yeah, I need to look into that at some point.
I believe this is a game in the Trails universe.
Maybe
I don't know.
It's like it's a weird spin-off that is not connected to the current story that like Sky and Cold Steel and stuff are in. Maybe.
It does not feel like you need to play any of those.
Okay.
Oh yes, it's completely separate until they decide, oh, this is that thing from this.
Of course. But this plays like an ease game. So it's full-on action RPG.
Modern ease game, right? Not old bump combat.
Not old bump combat.
Okay.
Like PSP, but only
yeah.
one character. Not the weird stuff where they do now, where it's like switching characters constantly.
Okay.
Like Ys Origin and Oath and Felghana and Ark of Napishtim.
Okay.
Yeah, imagine those, but with 3D graphics. Because we have with the full 3D models.
Okay.
But you still have the really simple, just like 3-hit combo, and then you unlock more.
I'm a big fan.
Things. Yeah.
Big fan.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I need to look at the PSP version and see if they did something to these textures, but all the character sprites have really like smooth looking textures. And I think it ended up looking kind of neat. It has almost a cell shaded idea behind it, but it also looks weird. And then they don't do that for the backgrounds. All the backgrounds just have crisp pixels on the textures. And it makes it look just like what you expect. So yeah, that's an interesting look that I'm kind of digging, but I'm not 100% sure if it's accurate or not. But the setting for this game is like you play as a kid coming back for summer break to his hometown, which is on a small habitated island where ruins fall from the sky. So like there's literally structures from ancient civilization that fall there. And you go and explore those ruins. And one of them has a portal to another world. And you get a little fairy sidekick, and she acts as your secondary attack. So she's always flying next to you. And you have like your melee attacks as your main character, but then you hit the square button and she shoots lasers. And she gets different spells throughout the game too, like a giant destructo disc she can let out. And then each like when you go to the other world, it then becomes like a weirdly level-based thing.
Oh.
Yeah, so you literally like load into this zone, and then you have 5 levels in this zone. Mm-hmm. And they're all just short little things where you go through and try and like find... I mean, you can just beat them by going through them normally, but there's also little goals like, find the treasure chest and find these super crystals to get you more money. Mm-hmm. And completing those goals unlocks new attacks for your character. I'm like, oh, this is neat. And also, after you beat a whole zone, like all the little tiny little sections, you can change the season of that zone. It'll completely redo the layout of every level and all the enemies in the level, so it'll make them harder.
Okay.
And it seems like there'll be different quests that require you to do that. Like I already did one. It was like, plant this in spring and then come back in summer.
That's a Kirby mechanic.
Yes. But yeah, the levels are really neat. They imagine like an Ys, like in Ys Origin, just a part of the tower, but just that's the whole thing. And it's got a lot of platforming. It's a 3D action game, so you're literally doing a lot of just jumping around environments. They'll have moving elements, like there's one where they have a like cogs, and you have to jump around the cogs as they go around, so you can get through to new areas. It's really neat. I like the focus on platforming, and it just felt like an old school Ys game.
Cool.
Like
I love those.
I was having a lot of fun with this. It was hard for me to put it down and go back and play more of Star Ocean, honestly. But I was like, I want to play more of that today too.
Right.
Getting new equipment actually affects your character's model too.
Oh, sweet.
Which I always think is really neat. That happens for your main character and for the little fairy who follows you. Which, to get new outfits for her, you go to the item store and she sells doll outfits. I was like, oh, that's neat. But yeah, you literally like the menus make it super easy to jump between in the dungeon areas and then out to the main town, which the main town is just like imagine a Harvest Moon main town where it's just like 4 shops, and that's it. And you can just pick up quests there. Like your main house has a mailbox in it where you get quests. And then you go into town, talk to people to see what they want, and then sometimes the mission will take you to the dungeons, and other times not.
You know, a lot of people don't realize Bob is sleeping in. He's slipping in this language to activate me, to get me to go buy this game right now.
No, this is definitely up your alley, Dan. Like, I don't...
Fuck. I know. This sounds like...
Hey, you have to play Ask Libra Revision first.
That came out last year.
That's not this year.
So did this.
No, this came out in...
This came out like 3 months ago, yeah.
Yeah.
No. Maybe on Switch it came out 3 months ago.
What?
Yeah. It did come out this year. That's weird.
Yeah,
I thought it was Huh.
Yeah. This is this year.
I got it confused with the Japanese release that was 2 years ago.
Right.
Understandable. It's a Trails game.
Uh-huh. It also is extremely anime. You get to the end of the first dungeon area, and then this dude walks out of an anime. I don't know which one, but he's got a giant cape. His face has like cracks of energy in it. And then he has a sidekick who is a Char.
Ooh.
And yeah, you have to sit there and be like, yeah, this is an anime. I don't know. It just is a 2000 anime. I don't know which one. All of them, I guess.
Right. Like you can look at a character and go, that's a card game protagonist. I don't know which one it is, but...
You have your buddy who's with you at the beginning of the game, who's convinced that he's the protagonist of the game, which is fair because he's a amnesiac swordsman who showed up on this island.
Yeah, that's an understandable misconception in the circumstances.
Falcom does like to poke fun at itself sometimes. With stuff like that, where it's like, this guy is exactly like Adol. He's not the main character.
So yeah, that's really neat, and I'm definitely going to play more of it. Oh yeah, there's also really weird typos. They did actually dub this, so it has English cast, but it has that thing where a lot of Trails games I hear do of they say the first few lines in a cutscene, and then it stops.
I don't remember that in 3 or 4. In 1 and 2 are almost entirely dubbed, like every single line.
Okay. I thought that's something that happened later on, the later releases of those.
3, yeah, but 3 and 4 you have the thing where some scenes won't be voiced, but if a scene is voiced, it's generally all of it.
Okay.
Let me tell you about my situation over here. Because I can now remove Void Stranger from my backlog of games to play, I have a measly 27 games to cram for Game of the Year.
That's all.
Some of which are RPGs. And here you are, going, Dan, they made your dream game. It's right over here, Dan.
Oh, yeah. So when you first get to the other world, you find a Melfina. There's just like a sleeping girl in some sort of weird sci-fi box.
Here, have a free Melfina. Wow.
But the typos are really strange because they don't come through in the voices at all. It's literally just sometimes they'll do stuff like, instead of Rush, they'll have written R-I-S-H.
Rish?
Rish.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
one
this
letter
is,
different on a
Yeah.
keyboard. They clearly
They just
they
not,
went good enough.
and that happened several times.
Nisa has a lot of failings as a publisher, and this is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you some important, relevant questions.
Okay.
How did you buy this, digitally or physically?
Digitally.
I don't even think there's a physical version.
There
Maybe I'm
is, but
wrong.
it's more expensive.
Yeah, it's $10 more. Is your house locked? Can I break into your house and steal your PS5? I'm already.
It might be on sale at least for the.
Nope, I just checked.
Oh my god! I guess I bought
At
it
least
when it
not
was on
on-
sale,
not
and they dropped
on-
it off,
Uh-huh.
which sucks. I can't believe the end of this year sale turned off an old sale, and
Yeah.
a lot of stuff I was going to buy just dropped.
I mean, Moss is not on sale right now, and it was in the earlier VR sale.
Yeah, I was about to buy the King of Fighters DLC. I was about to buy both Inti Creates games that came out this year.
Yeah.
All of it dropped off sale.
Yeah, I was about to pick up Moss and then something else, and then I looked at it, and Moss was $32 for both volumes, and I'm like, come on, man.
But yeah, definitely suggest Legends of Nayuta. Really fun little game. I don't know how long it's going to be. It seems like it's season based, so it's going to have at least 4 sets of stages. But then, like I said, you can change the season of every stage. So it might have a reason for you to do every set of stages 4 times.
Yeah, and it's East adjacent in the era of PSP games when they had too much fucking padding.
This, if you're okay with me reading the how long to beat,
Go for it.
says 18 and a half hours.
Okay.
That is tolerable.
Yeah. I feel like E's only got more and more padding though, so I don't know when too much padding happened. Because like
It's happening on our streets every day.
right?
Well, it was all pretty normal. Then E7 came out, and E7 has way too fucking much padding because that game barely has mechanics because it was the very first one they went to full 3D for. So it's like this game makes you do the entire like you beat the game, you do all the dungeons, and it goes do them again in the same order, do them again. And then East 8 and East 9, in my opinion, both have kind of inflated playtimes. 9 is worse, in my opinion. Because in 9, it like lies to you and is like, this is optional content. It's actually not. Because you have to fill like the Tsukihime fucking gauge to progress to the next section of the plot. And the only reasonable way to do that is by doing side quests.
Bob,
Yeah.
did you play anything else?
I did not.
Okay. Hey, Aggro.
Yes, sir.
I hear you played Paper Beast Enhanced Edition for the PlayStation VR 2.
You heard correctly.
Oh, wow.
I got up this morning and I pulled up the PlayStation app and I downloaded it, and then I booted it up, and then I didn't stop playing it until it was done.
Yeah.
Oh man, that game is a living nightmare that is really fun. It's like if Jim Henson's studio got a crack at making the things you can think.
Yeah, it is truly horrifying, the creatures on that planet, and yet because they're so well realized, you get attachments to them. Like you see a creature and you go, that is a shaggy dog. And then you look too deeply into its eyes and you go, oh no.
Like something that was truly horrifying minutes ago, you see it again and go, oh, thank God, my point of reference is back. There are puzzles in this game that like there are 3 kinds of puzzles. There are the ones where you had to figure out how to do a thing. There are puzzles where the puzzle is figuring out what the puzzle is,
Yep.
what it wants you to do. And then there are puzzles where the hardest part is figuring out that you're done. There were a couple of spots in this game where I eventually walked over to the thing I needed to get to and went, wait, I finished this area 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. Sometimes you have that.
Yeah, my modern video game brain went, but it didn't make a sound to tell me that I was done.
Yeah, haha.
It is really hard to find even one reference image for this game that could depict both the beauty and the horrifying nature of it. Because either the shot is so far out that you don't really get an idea for the details. Because I was going to throw it up on the screen because I realized, whenever we're talking about stuff I haven't played, it's easy enough for me to just do that while we talk about it. But anyway.
Yup.
That's quite the creature.
Yeah, maybe we can zoom in a bit and really get an idea for how tendrily it is. But yeah, these things, the way they're realized through their physics-based movement and sound is just intense. Also, look at this cute crab. So there's I thought when Agra was talking about, you see a thing from earlier and you go, oh, thank God, my frame of reference, right? It's just nice to have that grounding again, to see that again. There are some times where you're just like, you are less horrifying because of the things I've seen. I've now accustomed to the crab because the crab does not have deep, dead eyes in it. But yeah, exploring this alien planet is really, really fascinating.
Yeah, and that's like what it is. Like in the this is one of those, we finally accomplished that thing we've been trying to do in video games since forever, where you're going through this landscape and seeing all this mind-bending shit you've never seen before, going, holy fuck, I am well fucked and far from home.
I'm going to go ahead and ask because I feel like anyone who heard me talk about it last week has either played it or maybe decided it wasn't for them by now. And now Agro's played it, so I'm going to give the lightest bit of almost spoilers. Agro, did you see the message that the dog scraped into the earth with its body?
Yeah, you pretty much have to, and I'm still not over that.
Yeah, that was a moment I'm like, what is it doing? And then I just stared and watched as it did it for minutes.
Oh, no, I left. I moved on and then got ported back there.
Yeah.
So he was done. Like he was working on the last couple bits. And my stomach, I don't think I have a stomach anymore. I think it contracted and disappeared. Also, the opening of this game was some stuff.
It was, yeah. I was really upset when they spoiled that in the trailer for the Enhanced Edition. Because I didn't know, that game, the original launch 3 years ago, it did not show that at all. None of that. So
yeah.
That is a radically different context. Oh, I have one last image I'm going to show. Because I keep referencing the dog. And last week I talked about an evil sphere that seemingly took the soul out of the dog and crafted another creature from it. Here's the other creature. Here's the other dog.
Oh, yeah. That section and I have some slight differences on our opinions on how fluid mechanics should work.
Yes. Yeah, it's amazing how that, maybe this isn't a perfect simulation.
But a consistent one.
But yeah, no, it's really cool.
Like everything you're seeing on screen is like PS3 style. Hey, we got a thing that can do physics and we're showing off how powerful the cell is.
It is. It's very much that. Another way I was going to try to describe this, but it wouldn't it wouldn't really mean anything to the vast majority of people, but it's fucking true. This is like if Linger in Shadows was a full game.
Yes, exactly. I thought of that a couple of times during it.
Linger in Shadows was a downloadable demo scene sort of thing for the PS3. It was cool as shit.
Yeah, this game is truly haunting. It's a trip. Also, if you're like me and some of the fantasy literature you read as a child gave you an unending fear of caves and being underground, there is a stretch of this game that will be challenging for you.
It was even worse on the PSVR 1 because, as we talked about last week, it didn't have HDR in the headset. So when it gets dark, you just see nothing. So it was literally, you're in your house at night, wandering through pitch black, and for some reason the hallway isn't what you think it's supposed to be, sort of feeling. You're just like,
Great.
Which house am I in? Like almost that vibe. Yeah, so I highly recommend it on PSVR 2. I obviously haven't tried it on PC. Aggro, what do you think people should crawl in the cave?
I think if you are able to access this game, you should. I'm worried that somewhere out there are people who just will get nothing out of this, and I'm sorry, I am risking your money and time to get everyone else to experience this.
Yeah.
This is a definite recommend.
Yeah. Yeah, that is always a concern with what we do. It's like, I want to speak to how passionate I am about this, but then someone was like, the seventh guest, Dan seemed really high on it. Should I buy it? Based on what you said last week, and then everyone was like, well, all the games go on sale tomorrow.
Yeah.
So luckily it was reduced. I think it's $25 right now. And I was like, yeah, I can recommend that price. That's a pretty good price.
All the games except the ones we were going to buy.
Yeah, all the games except for the ones we were going to buy. But at very least with 7 guests, we got a code, so we lucked out.
Right.
To be fair, I do have formerly 4, now 3 games that are VR that are on sale that aren't Moss Book Volume 1 and 2. But yeah, if you have a PSVR 2, worth checking it out. It does have a next-gen upgrade if you ended up owning a PS4 copy somehow. People are reminding me that it was free on PS4 at one point. Paper Beast, that is. Aggro, did you play anything else?
I've been chugging away through Baldur's Gate. I have gone around the curve to where fights are now survivable. I don't think every time it rolls initiative, oh fuck, I'm not pre-buffed. I didn't start this ambush. I'm gonna die.
Why is this the way everyone describes the opening hours of that game?
Because it's deadly. And especially if you're used to just playing 5th edition, you have a mindset of being pretty unkillable. Where this game's like, no, we're going to use all of that math your DM doesn't, so motherfucker, you better be drinking elixirs and using your buffs properly and work that economy to your advantage. Like, the moment your characters hit level 5 and some of them get extra attack, it's fucking over. You win now. That is the turning point. The math flips over and the game becomes amazing.
I have yet to touch Baldur's Gate 3. In that game, do you select classes?
Yes. Like, you have your own created character you make, or you can just pick playing one of the pre-made characters.
Okay.
There is also a way in-game to both respec and change everything about the NPC characters.
Cool.
Or just go to this one spot in camp and get hirelings who are other characters you can just build yourself. So you can have a whole team of just randos you made yourself.
Huh.
That's really neat.
Like, the first thing everyone does is Shadowheart is a cleric in the trickster domain, and she sucks. So you take her over to the respec station and you make her either a light or a life domain cleric.
I can fix
or
her,
you're
said
going
Aggro.
to die.
And then he did. Amazing.
She's like, I have high dex and can't heal for shit. Okay, follow me.
Cool. Worth noting, Baldur's Gate 3 is on a massive sale right now. It's $7 off,
Great.
making
What
it
a sale.
$63.
Well, yeah, things go on sale when demand for them decreases. I don't think demand for Baldur's Gate 3 has decreased yet.
Yeah, I get it.
It is sadly the same reason the PS5 will be $500 until 2028.
No, it's okay. Next year they'll do a price drop or we riot. One of these two things should occur.
One thing this game has done to my brain that I've always heard about, but I've never experienced before. Like, I'll play a video game and then I'll finish it and go, that was really good. You know, maybe I'll play it again someday. I'm 40 hours into this game and I have already planned 3 different subsequent playthroughs
Yes.
of things I'll do differently, content I want to see, decisions I want to make different.
That's literally what happened to
disgusting.
Skip. Yeah, no, he wasn't even done with his first. He's just like, yeah, I'm planning these other playthroughs. I got to do this. And I'm like, that is deranged.
I've got a friend who's doing like a full I'm a huge dick evil playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, Larian put in the work and you can do that shit.
Good.
Yes.
I remember those got a lot of attention because I remember when it was in early access, people were like, where's all the good content? And they were like, you motherfuckers won't test the evil shit if we give you the good shit first.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's how video games be.
Oh.
But like there's whole different like there's a few NPCs that you only get if you're making evil choices that they like. Or you like knock them out in this one specific way and turn them into a sheep and sneak them through Act 2. It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
The farther I get, the more I have two simultaneous thoughts of, wow, this game is very like mouse and keyboard focused. And also, they miraculously put this game onto a controller. Like, this is really impressive.
Huh. Yeah, I was surprised when I haven't heard anyone complain about playing it on a controller.
Right.
Because you look at it as so clearly that. In fact, I think one of the reasons I checked out of it early on in them showing trailers and stuff is that it was that style of game, and I knew on a controller it'd probably be bad. Mm-hmm. Glad to be wrong on that.
Although it did take several hours of playing to get all of the weird how the menus are stacked up and which hot buttons are what into my brain and my fingers. Like, I'm still playing, going like click, 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 click. Wow, why was that natural? That was weird as shit.
I realized we don't have an image for Baldur's Gate up, and even though I feel like this segment is wrapping any second now, that doesn't change the fact that I just, we need something to represent the game, and there we go.
That fucking guy's gonna cause me a problem at some point. I just know it. God, like, I love every NPC they put in the game. Some because their stories are great, most because they're just fun to have on screen. Although there is one who I am starting to suspect is a knife in disguise, where I'm going to go through this whole game and they're going to use this character to stab me in the ribs. Like, and you get a happy ending, and you get a happy ending, and you get a knife in the lung.
I was really convinced you were saying they were a literal knife, and the game would end, and the spell would end, and they would become this ornate knife. Yeah, that is a much better situation than the one you're in, my friend. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about Baldur's Gate?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. Did you play anything else?
I did not.
Chris.
Okay, so other than Void Stranger, the only things I played were on my stream on Saturday.
Oh, no.
Wherein I played Rugrats: The Search for Reptar on the PS1 and the sequel Rugrats Studio Tour on PS1, and then a little bit of Toy Stories on Super Nintendo at the very end because I needed 10 minutes to kill so somebody could go live and I could raid them. Rugrats: The Search for Reptar is a fascinating game. It's so much more high effort than you would expect from a licensed Rugrats game.
Okay.
Because the conceit is, okay, Tommy wants his Reptar jigsaw puzzle that has 12 pieces, but all the pieces are missing. And you get a piece by doing levels that are accessed through items around the house. And each level is analogous to an actual Rugrats episode. So you can play the level that's based on them going to the grocery store because Grandpa wants his Twinkies.
Mm-hmm.
You can play the level that's them going to play mini golf to win a mountain of ice cream, wherein you have to do 12 holes of mini golf.
Huh.
or 9 holes. I'm sorry, not 12. 9.
Okay.
You have to do the front 9. There's a level where you have to do a bunch of different mini games because they're holding a circus. There's a level where you play as the dog.
Cool.
The thing that's really funny is there are also these collectibles around the level and in the hub, which is the house, which is fully explorable and it is very neat.
Cool.
Just to be able to completely explore this cartoon area in 3D space. There's the collectible called Reptar bars, the candy bar that you can actually buy in real life that's full of green icing.
Can you
Like
still buy that in real life? Wait, 1 second.
I think you can still buy them.
What?
I never knew they were real. Holy shit.
Yeah, I thought they
What?
did that for a very short period 2 decades ago. What?
They were available for a while.
So I need to cop to it right now. I misspelled Reptar, and I don't know how I did that. I used my right middle finger instead of my left and ended up at Riptar. So
They brought them back a couple years ago at FYE. I don't know if you can still buy them.
I guess that could be a Christmas present to me. Oh, Reptar bar.
But-
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cheap chocolate wrapped around toxic green frosting.
Ugh.
Yay.
Anyway, for every 15 of them you collect, you just get a jigsaw puzzle piece. So imagine if Mario 64 had 12 stars, and if you collected 100 coins, you just got to skip an entire level.
That's deranged. Pick up all these M&Ms, kid. Good, you don't get to do the authored normal content.
Which is especially insane because they force you to do bonus levels between some levels wherein the reward for completing them successfully is more Reptar bars. The game doesn't have lives.
What? But you're telling me this is an awfully high quality like game, and that really blew my mind. And I was trying to figure out why. And that's because we played so many bad PS1 games that were Disney.
Uh-huh.
Like there are a number of PS1 games that were like Lilo and Stitch, where they didn't give a fuck.
Let me be clear, this is not a great game. It's an interesting game. It controls really badly, but at least you
Okay.
have a button that locks the camera behind you, and you can hold that while you run around.
That's really advanced.
It is.
It has Z targeting. Oh my god.
But
That
yes,
rem-
I'm almost tempted to start the Rugrats on PS1 challenge where I challenge people, streamers, to play this horrible licensed game
Jesus.
that's like 100 minutes long.
No, this doesn't work like the denim jacket. I don't disappear.
No, you're just the brown blob.
Damn it.
But after that, I played Studio Tour, which is dog shit. The conceit of that game is everybody's on a studio tour for some movie studio. Dill Pickle, the little tiny baby that is so much of a baby he can't talk.
Yeah.
Because he was the one that was born in the Rugrats movie.
Do you need to explain this to anyone?
Oh, here's a great part of this stream was people trying to tell me things about the Rugrats reboot, which is currently still airing, that started 2 years ago.
That's
Oof.
still
And the reason
airing?
Oh yeah, it's apparently doing well enough, but you know it's actually for kids because not only has nobody I've ever known watched it, you can't even really find information about it on the internet. Like you can't find clips of specific things from episodes on YouTube. Wikipedia pages aren't actually updated to reflect it. It's like, no, it's a CG show about a CG reboot of Rugrats.
Well, here's the thing. That could either imply it's so distinctly young oriented that no person with access to the site, or no one's watching it.
But I might have to find some way to watch a little bit of it because people keep telling me this. I don't know if it's true. They're saying that Stu Pickles, Tommy's dad, is a streamer in this one. And I did find one clip where he mentions that he plays video games like 3 times in the clip. Like that's now a major character trait of his.
Is Angelica's father his manager?
I don't know. Something I did discover is they recast none of the kids, but all the adults.
Huh, that's weird.
And all the new adult voices are real bad.
Yeah.
It really is a reboot too. It's not like here's more. It's like an alternate continuity. Like Dill isn't even there in the first season. I think he's born at the start of season 2 from what I found out.
Yeah, we watched like one episode of this, and it was just that CG animation was horrifying.
Did we watch a whole episode?
We might have.
I thought I just saw like a short clip on YouTube.
I could have sworn that it was on one of those subscriptions we had, so we just booted up and watched an episode.
Did we make it a whole episode?
I
that
don't
just
know if we
seems
made it all
beyond
the way
me.
through,
Yeah,
but...
apparently this is Paramount Plus. Look at this fucking show. They're horrifying.
Yeah,
I know they were horrifying before, but it felt artistic. Here it just.
I'd like to point out that it's bullshit that they deleted Phil and Lil's father from reality.
Oh, they did that?
Yes, he's just no longer there because the joke everybody made at the time. You know, I'm sure you've seen it, is that their mom is a lesbian, and in this one they seemingly just made that the case. To which I respond, that's bullshit. The point was that they were both gay and hiding it by being married. You took away crucial beard representation in media.
I saw that for the wife, but I never heard that for the dad, and now I have to go back and watch it again. Jesus Christ.
But anyway, in the plot, the conceit of this game.
God. We're just hanging out with them.
Yeah, they're in the movie studio, and the security guard's like, "Oh man, thank God no kids can get past this giant space age security door that requires 8 keys." And then Dill grabs the keys out of his hand and throws them at the screen, and they all like explode out into disappearing, and then he just rolls through the door and it shuts. So the conceit is you need to get these 8 keys to open the door, and you get them by doing mini games. It's a mini game compilation now.
Great.
Mini games such as play different mini golf courses, do go-kart racing, run around a big map and collect coins. You still have the Reptar bar buff, but now you need 50 to get a key, and there's many, many more of them. To do a minecart level, and anytime you go into one of these levels, first of all, if it's the mini golf, you're trapped in there for 9 holes. But every other level is 4 iterations of it. It's like do 4 levels of this mini game before you get the key. So I did a bunch of them and got 20 keys. And then I went and unlocked the door, and behind the door is a second door that has 25 keyholes.
Okay.
And then the security guard says, "Don't worry, you only need 1 key." He's talking to babies, for the record. He's talking to infants.
Yes.
I guess he's just quirky that way. He goes, this door only needs 1 key, but I don't remember what keyhole opens it. So the conceit is randomly per playthrough, one of those 25 keyholes is the correct keyhole. So you need as few as 1 key and as many as 25. Luckily, I put in 1 key and it instantly opened.
Messed up, man.
Which keyhole did you put it in? Because it's in a 5x5
grid. The top left.
So the first fucking hole. He puts it in the first one. It's like, go ahead.
People were getting real indignant. Somebody was like, "I've never beaten this game because of this door."
So
and then you do an unbelievably terrible feeling Crash Bandicoot level as Tommy. Right. And then you do a second Crash Bandicoot level where you are the Reptar wagon running from a dinosaur.
Okay.
And then the game is over.
This sounds like it might be okay if, all of these were polished mini games.
Bizarrely, it controls much better than Search for Reptar, but the mini games are so fucking dull. They're all so fucking boring. And the conceit of these being levels like episodes from the show are just completely gone. It's completely gone. And I was like, I thought this would be all right because it had the same developer. It's not like it's just
right. Who was the developer? Do you remember?
In space. In the letter in dash space.
Yeah. I've heard them, but I don't know what they've made.
Yeah, I also don't remember what else they made. I believe they a bunch of licensed stuff. Oh god, they made other horrible games Chris was given as gifts.
Oh no.
They made Die Hard Trilogy. No, I'm sorry, they only made Die Hard Trilogy 2.
So is there a sequel to Die Hard Trilogy?
Die Hard Trilogy 2, Viva Las Vegas.
Did I just have a stroke?
Yeah. What?
Oh man, they made Geist on the GameCube.
Oh.
That's a game.
Yeah, I think every other thing is licensed. Every other fucking thing is licensed. They made a bunch of James Bond games for the DS. They made the Call of Duty ports for the DS.
I hear those are
Oh.
good at least.
Wow.
Surprisingly good anyway.
Yeah. Yeah,
No.
those aren't good, but they definitely satisfied the need of.
Yeah, kind of like DS Guitar Hero.
Uh-huh.
You know? It works.
And the very last thing they made was Sword Coast Legends in 2015. That is a Dungeons and Dragons tie-in game that also has Digital Extremes as a developer on it.
All right.
Weird.
Okay.
Then I played Toy Story on SNES.
How is Toy Story on SNES?
Vile, despicable, a game for subhumans by subhumans. Did you know that the Japanese and European versions have a fucking password function and the US version does not?
Despicable.
You die, you go back.
And if it's like other games made by that dev, it could even be a multi-region cart that just changes the mode it's in based on the region of your console. That's deranged.
Ugh.
No, that would only work on the Genesis.
So I got game overed immediately because that game is bad.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's literally the number one. It is the poster child of abusive license games that are pretty. It is it. Nothing outdoes it. Cool Spot isn't as pretty and isn't as terrible.
Right, of course.
Did you play anything else?
No. Someday I'll go back and be like, this is the Chris avenges his youth on Toy Story SNES stream. Where he just I might go get a ROM hack that just put the password feature in the US version.
You could also get. Didn't that dude work on a director's cut? That
I think he
fixes things?
said he would. I don't know
and
if
then
he ever released it.
Yeah, I think he kind of disappeared after he said Ratchet and Clank's possible on a PS4.
weird thing to disappear over.
That's your fucking final statement to the world.
Right?
Did you know things could work on other things if they were way worse? Goodbye. My final message. Podlords.
Oh fuck.
Oh god, here they come.
Yes, that's right. It's the Podlords. Oh no. Podlords such as BN12, Ely Broyles, Bountiful, Blessings to you all.
Happy solstice, you fuck.
Thank you.
Red Blaze 27, Suzu Shiro. How much do you think it would cost to buy the rights to Jinkaria? Asking for a friend. I like that it's a really shitty coin because the edges of the bezel are just like melted.
Oh, that's a blue coin.
That's a blue
wow. Yeah, I get it. All right.
101 Shades of Christmas Spirit. Have a happy holidays, Giga Boys. Thank you. You too.
Yeah, happy holidays.
WTF, Spider-Man. One thing you can count on. You push a man too far, and sooner or later, he'll start pushing back. Max Payne. Rest in peace, James McCaffrey.
That sucks so much.
It does. Fucking amazing actor. Dawn of the fourth day. 96 hours remain.
You're not safe.
I don't think I'm safe, ma'am. DFW3K. Muck Bun. Shiny Mew. Kristen. Deeply unsafe quantities of Juice-a-Frost. Kyle Bjork. It's almost Christmas, which means it's time to watch Tokyo Godfathers.
Still haven't seen that one.
Cooper Tank. Simply having a bountiful Christmas time.
He's so happy.
No.
This plan's enough.
I am displeased.
I am very pleased. You get a gold star, Bottler. Ochi is done asking. Play Pikmin 4. Indigo Sykes. Gaijin wishes everyone in the Northern Hemisphere a happy winter solstice. It all gets brighter from here.
Oh no, the sun's coming back.
Evil Lucario.
It's pretty evil. It's fucking
So evil. A raccoon wishing you a Merry Christmas. You're adorable. Who's the camera?
Your hands.
Shinji16 in Tran would like to remind you that you matter, you are valid, and you deserve to be happy. Apple Gothic worked 160 hours in 3 weeks, and the union might get upset on making up for 2 missing coworkers. Angry Bird picture still relevant.
yeah.
Man, this song's so good, I'm never going to stop using it. The Superman. The Hard M. Sarlene. Timothy Pfister. Gentlemen, may I introduce to you Mordaka!
Yeah, they seemingly added some goofy shit to that new patch.
Good. Cleochrome. Krunglespum. Wow, it was weird that for this week's Chugging Bleach, they watched the live-action film again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hashire Soriyo Kaza no yo ni Tsukimihara wo Agoru Agoru.
Saber, but based.
No!
Now this is proper beard representation.
Then the Insomniac hackers got an idea, an awful idea. The Insomniac hackers had a wonderful, awful idea.
Nice.
Arc Seaside. Finished Lost Belt 6 in Grand Order, and a neutron star is 1/1000th as dense as this lady right here. Podlords just using their platform to attack white women on the internet. Dread it. Run it. Run from it. The plan arrives all the same.
Oh, he has so many chin scars.
That's why they didn't need to edit one in.
Right?
You already came with them.
It is fucked up when Ishida kicks the shit out of him for like a whole episode, and he's like, "You should have aimed for the head."
I feel like we're going to Flavor Town.
A little bit. Zoom out. Is he wearing the shirt? After 100 hours, I fully completed Yakuza Kiwami. I recommend nobody do what I did.
Yeah. 100%ing a Yakuza game seems nightmarish.
Padaru. The first time I saw him was after dental surgery. My drugged ass was not ready for the nightmare. Introducing the actor playing Sam Porter Bridges in the Death Stranding movie. It's famous UK actor Kiefer Sutherland.
That'd be really funny.
That just looks like him.
Funny.
It's so close. I feel like Bob wouldn't be able to.
This makes me think of all the really poor photoshops when someone puts like the Organization 13 cloak on someone.
Yes. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, why didn't you tell Photoshop to make him happy and turn his head? It's so good at using those AI tools to do that.
Yeah.
And cool hands, TG. Thank you very much. To our Timberland wearing podlords?
Yeah, I guess.
Thank you, Podlord.
Thank you, podlords.
And if you would like to become a Podlord, you can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/gbpodcast. For as little as $5 a month, you get access to many benefits such as early access to Chugging Bleach and Pokemon Go to the Movies, our 2 monthly anime review podcasts. You also get extended and cut content from other shows when indeed such things exist to be given to you. You also fund a patron-funded show that comes out once a month, either a public show wherein we review a bad thing, and in that case there is a patron-exclusive commentary track on the Patreon, or a patron-exclusive show where we watch a good thing and discuss it, and you get to vote on which good thing we watch from a pool of 4. That's patreon.com/GB podcast. There's also lots and lots of commentary tracks for horrible things, like X-Men Origins Wolverine, which you should probably watch because apparently Hugh Jackman's going to be Wolverine for the next 40 years.
Well, yeah, until he dies. Like, we don't need to worry about replacing him until then.
I just think of all the times Dan has said, hey, Zoomers, did you know that characters used to change actors? Back in the days before 2005, when apparently that became out of style. Anyway, patreon.com/GB podcast. We also helps immensely. Rate us on Thursdays. Rate us with a T on your podcasting app of choice, or leave a like and a comment on this video on YouTube. Right now, the algorithm doesn't care what the comment says. Leave whatever. Patreon.com/GB podcast.
Right. It could be anything. Just keep commenting. It can be more than one.
Okay. So here we got news.
Potentially.
Actually, we're not starting with news. We're starting with a new segment called Dan Was Right. Let's get these Rugrats out of here. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah, it's much.
That's an understatement. Jesus Christ, these fucking faces. I thought I got rid of these guys. Welcome to the new segment called Dan Was Right. Really, really right. Apparently, the temporal AA stuff, we found a patent from Sony that's just like, yeah, it's DLSS.
Yeah,
this is straight up. This is how that works. Here's an image explaining that. The moral of the story, I should have done the rant as go about this when I realized it a year ago at most recent.
Mm-hmm.
So that way I could be ultra smug right now instead of it just being disseminated throughout random streams we were doing where I'm like, I bet the PS5 Pro is going to have temporal AA. So that way these games stop all being hideous. So anyway, that was like the small news of the week. Let's get to the big news. Let's get to the big show. Okay. We're going to avoid that one for even a second longer. We're going to avoid that one for even a second longer. Hey, Aggro, let's go to your news.
Okay. I've got a couple of things just wrapping up earlier news stories we covered. Remember last week we talked about that Link's Awakening DX HD on the PC for the BYOB?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gone. Nintendo turned its burning eye towards it and scorched it from the earth.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't see that coming.
It was just on itch.io and then literally every news site ever.
And included all of the content without you even needing the ROM yourself.
It's out now. Can't put it back in the bottle.
It's true.
But
Just
you can't
like,
take it off of itch.io.
Just like another Metroid 2 remake, AM2R. Can't get rid of it.
That's true.
Sunrise, sunset, Nintendo nukes a fan project. So it is now safe to save your game in Baldur's Gate 3 on the Xbox.
Woo!
Just a public service announcement. It is still not recommended that you pause your game and yank the power cord out of your console. That's still not a thing you should do. But in case it happens, your save is probably fine now.
Is that a feature on Xbox? I don't remember Phil being like, yeah, you could just rip the fucker out. Clearly, I would know this by now if we used our Xbox more.
Right? You see, it would have been a feature if the Xbox had the handle, as it should. Just like the GameCube.
It should. Yes, it should. It should be on top, and I should feel like I'm carrying around a nuclear canister.
Yes.
Have one of those folding bail handles that machine guns have. It would be Call of Duty coded.
Yes. That would actually be wicked. And then no matter how strong Sony's console is, you're the only one with that. That's value.
So, cast your mind back through the horrors, both legal and physical, of the last several years to 2021.
Oh my God, through that many horrors. Wow, okay.
When the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing, which is now called the California Civil Rights Department, brought a lawsuit against Activision for... This is the one about frat boy culture with the cube crawls and all the gross shit. Well, that one finally wrapped up.
Cool.
Activision has been ordered to pay out $54 million.
Good.
Not enough.
$45,750,000 of which will go towards a settlement fund dedicated to worker compensation. So if you were employed by Activision or contracted by them during this time period, there is now a fund for you to get cash.
Cool.
Weird thing about it that I read. I'm going to quote the article I was reading. As part of the settlement in the 2021 Activision Blizzard lawsuit, the CRD also states that no court or any independent investigation has substantiated any allegations of systemic or widespread sexual harassment at the company. More importantly, the CRD is to amend its complaint to drop the sexual misconduct allegations and will only include gender discrimination claims. So apparently part of their settlement was like, no, all the harassment stuff isn't real. It's just the regular discrimination stuff, which is weird.
We'll pay without more of a fight, but you have to make it better for us PR-wise.
Which is weird because there are still multiple lawsuits closed and ongoing about the sexual harassment.
Right.
Well, Microsoft owns them now, so they're all going to peter out.
Yeah, no, Microsoft bought them and everything's fine now.
And in 2 years, we're going to have to hear somebody say that Microsoft fixed Activision because nobody talks about it anymore. That means it's fixed.
Yep, those two things are the same. I'm sure we're not going to have any more news stories about Activision in this roundup because everything was immediately fixed forever.
Children do not go missing in the forest, for there is no one left to mourn them.
God.
Activision has asked that we stop calling the forest a horrible demon pit that eats children and just a place where people sometimes get lost.
Look, people get lost at Disneyland and everybody loves Disneyland.
Why don't people just respect our great forest just the same as Disneyland? Well, we're just going to move on from that news.
Yeah.
In more nerd shit, I would like to note on the earlier thing, the patent specifically, the important things about the patent are that it uses bespoke hardware and outlines exactly how the data is handled for the processors to fill in the blanks, basically, on the pixels. So it is looking a lot more like a real solution to this, which obviously it would if it came up in the specs at all, because FSR is just a compute shader that doesn't have bespoke hardware, that doesn't have ways to do it better. So this so far looks like it will be good, like the deep learning super sampling from NVIDIA or the Intel solution that someone may have used at some point in time, but I think that requires owning an Intel card in order to do it correctly. So no one has used it except for media outlets and tech YouTubers. Both of which are better than the FSR thing from AMD, so all the things that keep showing up in these games and making them look horrible. Moving on from that actual patent, though, and I would show you the patent, but would it mean something? LG revealed a 4K 32-inch OLED monitor that could do 4K at 240 hertz, so 240 frames per second, or it could do 1080p at 480 hertz.
That's a lot of hertz.
You know what's really going to hurt? My wallet when they announce the price.
Yeah.
This is like Dan's going to go work an Uber job on the side of all the streaming for the Death Pit and the theme months and all this other stuff.
Uh-huh.
So he can afford a 480 hertz 1080p OLED monitor.
But you'll finally be able to see every frame in
30XX?
I was going to say, was it Lost Hope?
Silent Hope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of those can run at 480 hertz. I don't know. I'll tell us. Pioneers of Olive Town also can.
There you go.
So there we go. And I will be able to tell you, chat, whether or not anything. Because keep in mind, I haven't even seen 240 hertz. The highest I've seen is 144.
Right.
So I'll be able to tell you and be able to talk and actually know what I'm talking about because you constantly see, you can't notice. You motherfucker, you're probably the same person who says you couldn't notice 30 frames per second a decade ago.
Right.
Which admittedly some people still say. I'll be able to actually tell you whether or not you can fucking see an appreciable difference between 120, 240, and 240 and 480. I honestly have no idea because I haven't seen it. And that's how talking about things on the internet should go.
Right. Instead of like, oh, I've heard.
I heard from a guy who himself hadn't seen, but he needed to fill his YouTube video about this.
Uh-huh.
So we'll see. We'll see. Because it's already crazy enough to have a high refresh rate screen. And then on top of that, it being an OLED, so your pixel transformation time, your change time is 0.1 milliseconds instead of horribly like overshot and whatever. But to then crank that up to 480, this will probably look unreal in a way that CRT's never even accomplished, which is exciting. And then I also get to test the claim. The number one claim from tech people right now. At higher frame rates, frame generation looks fine.
Uh-huh, sure.
Well, we're going to find out when it's 480 hertz.
What the fuck is the point of frame generation at higher frame rates?
Because obviously this isn't a way to goose up NVIDIA's benchmarks on their product, on their reviews for their products and convince people to buy these worse GPUs with frame generation turned on for these charts, this thing that has already happened multiple times. No, NVIDIA's engineers told these tech reviewers that it's to take 120 hertz content and upsample that to 240 hertz so that way you can remove the motion blur on TVs.
But so why would I want it to go beyond? So this technology is to do something that nobody has ever wanted and still add input latency.
Mm-hmm.
But the important thing that you know is that it doesn't add more input latency than there was originally if the developer just didn't optimize it all. They also bring that up every time.
But what if they did?
Oh, well, in order to add this frame generation shit, they have to. They actually have to implement a thing called Reflex Plus, I believe, which does drastically reduce the input latency of games. So the best part of this frame generation stuff that looks like crap coming out has been me going, oh, wow, there's a mode to just make this game feel better, and it still runs fine. Okay, great. Chris is so thoroughly stupefied by this weird maze of mirrors and word wizardry that these tech YouTubers have fallen into.
Man, it sure does feel appropriate that the fucking spirit of death has shown up to loom over the entire gaming industry going forward, as we will cover in a little bit, considering that we are now in a wonderful world where they're creating technology that doesn't solve any problems and in some ways makes them worse in order to do a thing to an end that nobody can explain.
Yeah. No, and there needs to be more skepticism and and I like to think one of the positive things, like genuinely good things we bring to the space is most podcasts out there will just suck off every company because they don't want to cause problems. They are hardly ever hypercritical of these companies and the things they do. So I think that's a positive thing we bring to the space. And though there are people who are plenty skeptical, especially Gamers Nexus, of the tech industry, like on PC and, graphics technologies, I see that as sorely lacking in that space. I, in fact, only know one other outlet that was fairly skeptical of frame generation. And their video where they showed it off, they got flack for, when you could see they were playing a driving simulator, okay? Or a racing simulator on PC. And the names over the cars was melting in between frames because it couldn't figure it out. Because it's a 2D element in a 3D space.
Right.
And it's transparent. And they actually got some shit from other outlets for misrepresenting frame generation by showing that frame. Reminder, that happens every other frame. It's half of the video.
Right.
But they got shit from other tech outlets for showing that.
No fair. You changed the outcome by measuring it.
So, yeah. I'm glad that we're able to be more critical in these spaces because if there's one thing I've been harmed by time and time again, it's people being too positive on products that don't work well. Please look forward to the unending retro nightmare that is anything we buy.
Right. I mean, that is the that's the jump that these technologies have to make, and it's where all of them die. Like Juicero, this FSR and fucking frame gen shit. There's the tech enthusiast who is happy if it kind of works.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But normal consumers want it to work 100% of the time and have an actual benefit. Like, that's why the Kinect failed.
Right.
Is because when something like that fails, the customer better not be able to remember the last time it failed, or else they go, okay, this thing doesn't work. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen with all this FSR shit, except PC Master Race guys are all lobotomized now.
Mm-hmm.
So I expect a lot of them to be like, this frame generation looks great. I'm insane. It's something that the consoles don't have, so it's better.
Yeah, I literally hear that multiple times. Keeping up with tech puts me in the spaces where I have to hear that.
It's like, sure, my rig can't do it right, so it looks bad, but it can run on a better PC, so it's clearly the better option.
Oh no, they're at the point where they're like, it doesn't have image artifacts. And I'm like, no, that's literally, when you render a thing that isn't supposed to be there, that's an image artifact. Back in the day, we would say your GPU was dying. Like, if it didn't render the right pixel, that is noise, and that is an artifact. That is not an additional frame. But anyway, we got to move on. I see the Sweet in chat pointing out exactly what happened. Yeah, Hardware Unboxed was called AMD shills because they pointed out the problems with frame generation.
A technology AMD is also making.
Well, they weren't at that point in time.
Yes.
It was a few months later when they announced they were also going to make a horrible thing.
I don't...
Yeah.
I'm always baffled when a technology has literally no upside. Like, the only upside this technology, this frame generation provides to anyone is the marketing department of these GPU companies.
Yeah, FPS number go up. That's all that matters.
FPS number goes up, and after 2 decades of PC gamers being trained on FPS number goes up means game run better, ate good, they aren't actually looking at the whole picture. That is, did you know when you use these frame generation technologies, you actually get fewer real frames? Your frame rate goes down in order to implement the things that generate the fake frames.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's move on to Bob. Hey, Bob.
Hey.
I hear you got some Bob news.
Yes. El Shaddai Essentials of Metatron HD.
Whoa.
It's coming out on the Switch in Japan in April.
Okay,
April
that's not here or on the platform I want, but this news is still good to know that it's still happening.
It's progress. Because this thing hit PC a few years ago, and it felt like it just wasn't going to do anything else.
Come on, do something.
But now it's happening, and they're putting it on Switch. And your Switch is going to just be done, but...
It'd be funny if it's like, yeah, this runs bad. I'm like, whatever, the Switch that'll run it right probably comes out in a few months.
Right. So that's neat. Hopefully we get that over here in the States, because that game is still really cool. You just need to get past the first, couple hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to fucking do that someday. It sure did trick me into thinking that game was terrible, and then it becomes a different game every 30 minutes for the entire rest of its runtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking.
It's a marvelous experience that no one
like
went on.
It's like a bizarre opposite 7th gen game where every other 7th gen game has put all the money in the first 3 hours.
Uh-huh.
This did the opposite.
Yeah, the opening seems like a real afterthought.
Right.
And has barely any money and lasts a little too long.
Armor Core 6 is getting ranked match PvP, so matchmaking for PvP, so you can just go up there and
That's sick.
yeah. That's great.
Why am I not playing this?
I don't know. It came out like yesterday. That's probably why.
They show off this trailer and I was like, oh. And then that reminded me PC Armored Core 6 has an uncapped frame rate, and that made me go, oh. And now this 480 hertz monitor exists, and I'm like, there's literally no way a FromSoft game could run that
No.
frame rate.
No.
It's probably capped somewhere up at 120 or whatever. But yeah, that PC version being good still vexes me because I own the PS5 version.
Yeah, and like the thought of redoing what you have to get up to getting all the parts you would want.
Yeah, I'd be fine with it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's doing the multiple routes.
Yeah, exactly.
You can once you know who's lying on what wiki. Spoiler, it's Fextra Life. About what's necessary to get the other routes, you can optimize it a lot better. And you should probably be broken levels of powerful by a certain point, but who knows? They balanced it.
They did balance it.
So who knows? I don't know.
Those Discovery shows that we talked about last week leaving PlayStation. I guess they reworked the agreement again, so they won't be removed for at least 30 more months.
Everything's fine forever.
I think that we're in this bizarre Cold War where everybody intrinsically understands when it's pointed out to them, at least. The moment this happens, digital sales of media die. Like, it's happened a couple times, but when it happens, like when the meter fills up enough, people will lose trust in buying digital video and they will just stop.
Right.
It's already happened to a certain extent where you already, like, most people pretend the gap, like, okay, the movie's on DVD now, it's not on streaming yet, but you can buy it digitally. People pretend like that isn't real. Like that option doesn't exist is already the general person's idea. So reinforcing it seems bad.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're not that far out until somebody fucks up with games.
It is worrying.
Yeah.
This sucks.
Yeah, it does.
For people who are just unfamiliar, that Discovery owns, all the Discovery shows and a number of other things. They also own HBO now, but I think it was Discovery branded stuff specifically that was disappearing from platforms where you already could own it on PlayStation for at least almost a decade and a half. So, like, you could have bought those shows. You could have bought Mythbusters in 2008.
Right.
And now it's just disappearing because Discovery wanted to do that. Then there was a backlash, and now they're pushing off a grand total of 2.5 years. Cool. Great. Awesome.
Yeah, hopefully people will forget about it next time, right?
That's what they hope.
And that's what seems like always happens. Like, you have to get up to the edge and then yell at the company and then they delay it. Like with the PS3 store shutting down. Like, this is the same thing.
Yeah, it was like what happened with the Xbox store shutting down. But good for Microsoft. They have a spine and said, no, fuck you. And they're shutting it down anyway. So
cool. Great.
Really based Xbox.
And then my good news story this week.
Oh, okay.
Aiding is making a Hunter x Hunter fighting game.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. But hey, that's way cooler than DNF Duel.
I don't know that yet. I haven't experienced Hunter x Hunter. DNF Duel was pretty fun.
Hunter x Hunter is deranged, and I'm not sure if it should even be a fighting game.
Yeah, there's definitely, like, I'm just imagining it's like, there's more than one character in Hunter x Hunter that I can only describe as, if he gets a hit on you in this fighting game, it becomes a different game for a little while. Like, it has to shift into being a different video game.
Well, I feel like the developers of Castlevania Judgment just might be up to the task.
Oh man.
I cannot wait for Leorio to be the most OP as shit character in this game.
Well, that's it for Bob news. I guess that means we have to move on to Chris news. Hey, Chris, can we start with like a highlight, like the Bob news?
Oh yeah, we need to talk about. I don't think it's in here. The Firewall Ultra devs shutting down.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot to copy that over because once again I started things and it started breaking, and I hate computers. Anyway, yeah, the developer behind Firewall Ultra, which is the first-person shooter in VR made by one of Sony's own studios, is shutting down now. Sony was the publisher on that, rather, and this developer was already working on another game. Their name, by the way, First Contact Entertainment, and their press release about them shutting down has a typo in it, but I'm going to read it anyways. After almost 8 years of working with the most amazing team I've ever had the pleasure of being a part of, I'm sad to announce that we will be closing our company, First Contact Entertainment, by the end of the year. The lack of support for virtual reality within the industry has eventually taken its toll. As a AAA virtual reality game developer, we are not able to justify the expenses needed gouging forward. We are a team of fearless innovators willing to push new technologies to its limits. I am extremely proud of the team and grateful to our investors, our partners, and of course, our community of dedicated and passionate players. It's been a wild ride. Thank you. A reminder, until the Koi Koi game that I bought a month ago, barely, this was the hugest disappointment. This game, Firewall Ultra 2, or Firewall Ultra, because I think the first one's called Firewall Alpha or something. Anyways, was the biggest disappointment in any VR game I've gotten. The thing had numerous problems from a playability standpoint. It had no single-player content at all. It was a real wet fart of a launch, and every single person who played it was like, this is terrible. And it sounds like they barely improved it since. And now the developer's shutting down. So I'm really pissed at Sony.
Yeah, I can't believe Sony put this out with their name on it. Like, that's insane.
Right, and now they're just letting the developer shut down. It's like, what are you doing? You should be funding them fixing the fucking game you publish. This is a $40 game.
Yeah.
So, pretty pissed. Sony needs better return policies. They need to go fuck themselves. There are a whole list of things I suggest Sony does, and those two top the list right now. Okay, now we can get to the up news that is the Chris news. Hey, Chris. Give me the Bob news about Bobby K.
Bobby Kotick is leaving Blizzard on December 29th. Activision isn't going to have leadership anymore.
That's weird.
Their divisions will now directly report to the Microsoft guy they're under.
That is.
So there's no more uniform Activision Blizzard guy who is in charge.
That is really, really strange and may actually shake things up over there because, as you know, it was always the Activision Blizzard producers coming into Overwatch, coming into the Blizzard end of the company, coming to the smaller companies and forcing them to work on projects that didn't make sense.
Right.
This is very bizarre.
I think Matt Booty now overlooks all that shit, everything.
Well, it's a good thing Matt Booty's really on top of fostering a really good first-party offering, and
he's so good at managing
studios.
Studios, yeah, he's great at it.
He definitely wasn't over all the studios as they shut down towards the end of 7th gen, beginning of 8th.
And he definitely didn't have anything to do with Redfall.
It is absolutely not fair for you to remember a series of things that happened in the past, correlate them into a reasonable narrative, and use them to predict the future like this. That's just you being fanboys.
That does seem to be a magic spell that people get mad at, yeah.
Reading this press release from Phil Spencer that was so positive about Bobby Kotick was you should have said nothing.
He wrote positive words for Bobby Kotick?
Yeah, and be happy with all of this other stuff about him. And it was
cool.
Don't write this.
Neat.
I know that it is the corporate normal thing to do, but you shouldn't have done it.
But he's Bobby Kotick, so don't.
Yeah, I can't even feel good about this. He just won.
Yeah,
he's leaving gaming even, so he won't even be here for the collapse.
No, right? He just gets his golden parachute.
He literally
he just got $1 billion, and he gets to leave. He's the best. He's the biggest single success story as a person in gaming history now.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, he strip mined all of those
Thanks,
studios
Phil.
to make them shit out of Call of Duty every year to shoot the price up insanely and then sell to Microsoft.
Yep.
He implemented so many unsustainable practices just to drive the studio to a point where Microsoft could buy them.
Congratulations, you awful son of a bitch. You get to Kissinger.
Did you know that? Did you hear that WB is wanting to buy Paramount?
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that should be.
I have
stopped.
a little bit more. The FTC has been on a hot streak the past couple months. They've been like kicking the shit out of these companies.
They've been trying. Yeah,
They've succeeded in a lot of ways.
I can know one
Like
where they didn't.
Yeah. But to be fair, the judge was literally in Microsoft's pocket, so that tends to
No, we
work
can't
against
say
things.
that. Then we're fanboys.
Yeah, then we're fanboys.
We're fanboys if we point out that the judge's son worked for Microsoft, and at no point did this come up in the trial and lead to any change in anything ever.
I didn't know that. Great. So you're thinking maybe that'll be stopped, the WB Paramount?
They've not only have they been on a hot streak, they've like passed updated laws, so now the companies can't even say, "But we followed your rules, ooh woo." Like they updated the rules to make it significantly more stringent, and when they allow this shit to happen.
Good.
But guys, think of the Cartoon Network Nickelodeon crossovers.
Yeah,
That
why don't you
had-
fucking man children already scream that? That would be so poggers. That would be
But
great.
they're,
I want to see Alex Battaglia talking about how this would be fucking woke and awesome if we could get a crossover between Dexter's Lab and Rugrats. I want to see
but-
all of the people who clapped for how amusing a crossover would be in gaming for cartoons owned by Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon.
but they just knocked in some pharmaceutical companies' heads in to get rid of unfair patents. They've been kicking the shit out of banks recently.
Cool.
Outside of the Microsoft thing, they've been stunningly successful at blocking these kinds of acquisitions, especially on like the airline front.
You know, as you can tell from my tone just now, I am not someone who's at all positive on the merger between Activision Blizzard and Microsoft, but maybe by removing the Activision Blizzard producers and Bobby Kotick and everyone having to directly report to Microsoft and the streamlining that may happen from that, they may accidentally whoopsie their way into actually restoring those studios a little. We will have to see.
No.
Yeah, it needs to be seen to be believed. Just because
of
how every other studio they're working with is crumbling. Like, it's hard to imagine anything else.
What's wrong with Arcane? Did something happen to them this year? Did Arcane ship a game that was clearly a bad idea, rushed, and then Phil? Anyways, look forward to our gaming news of 2023 year-long wrap-up coming up after this.
I'm sure State of Decay Studio is also doing great.
Yeah,
They're doing great.
Another big FTC that happened this week, I think it happened this week, was them knocking Rite Aid's teeth out.
Oh, cool.
Rite Aid bought AI facial recognition software to help them identify shoplifters and basically harassed thousands of completely innocent shoppers because of that.
What? You don't shoplift with your face, moron.
This is just a thing that that companies keep that pop up every so often where it was one of those car rental companies has been getting the shit kicked out of it for a couple of years because they'll just randomly decide that someone stole a car and then you have to spend years and years fighting them to prove you did not steal that car. Cool. Which is a pretty good reason to never rent a car. But let's move into some of the other news before the horror block.
We're not there already?
No. Bloober Team is making a game based on a Skybound Entertainment IP. Skybound Entertainment is Robert Kirkman's company. He's the creator of Invincible and The Walking Dead. I think they also own the game franchise Outlast now.
Weird.
No idea what they could be making.
I'm sure it'll be great. Bloober Team only puts out the best stuff.
Yeah.
It happened again. Reset the clock.
Oh, yeah?
classified documents have once again been leaked on the War Thunder forums. That is why the tank is behind us. It was documents about that tank, which Aggro remembers the name of, and I do not.
It's an M2A2 Bradley. It's not a tank. It is an armored transport vehicle.
And not a plane.
It's definitely not a plane. This is so fucking funny.
God, what is wrong with you?
Like the first couple of times it happens, like, okay, I get it. You're a huge nerd. You're in this competitive nerd space and you want to prove your cred by knowing your stuff. You cannot at this point entertain the delusion that you're going to get away with this.
No. They'll be different this time.
I really do like that this is just a continuation of the fights the Department of Defense have always had with model companies.
Mm-hmm.
Like the stealth bomber, the one that's covered in weird angles, so radar bounces off of it. There was a 1-to-1 accurate model you could buy before the US government admitted that plane existed. And if you go read, like, I forget what book it was, but you can read, like, like every 6 months, the Department of Defense would come search our offices trying to find shit we weren't supposed to have because our models were too accurate.
Jesus Christ.
Because this was back during the Cold War, remember? They were a little bit more sensitive to that than they probably are now, now that we have no real enemies. You know, that they say until China starts some shit and then we fold like a card. But there was another War Thunder thing, and we've now run out of news that isn't fucking the nightmares.
Well, there's this last thing. That's fine, right? The last thing?
I was going to talk about that with the context of
okay.
horrors.
Okay, sure. Let's get to it.
So, a hacker got into Insomniac shit and stole a terabyte of data. There was lots and lots and lots of shit in it. So if you don't want to hear any of it, you better check out now. Because while we aren't going over every single thing, we're going to cover some of it.
I'm going to go ahead
this included
and update this text here to say Insomniac leak news.
This includes the entire cast of Wolverine, gameplay footage of Wolverine, entire internal documents about Wolverine. It also seemingly included the alpha build, which people have already gotten working on Xbox Series dev modes.
Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah, Sony's gonna like put out like an Al Jazeera execution video of these hackers. Like, it's gonna be rough. They're gonna have them extra legally killed. See footage of people running the fucking Wolverine pre-alpha on a fucking Xbox.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, cast of Wolverine. Nothing. Not gonna go through all of it. Omega Red's in the game. I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, that's sick. I'm pretty sure that topped our list of things we wanted in this game.
Yes.
Deborah Wilson is in this game because seemingly she just has to be in every game now. I like Deborah Wilson, but you know, you could make it so I don't immediately see her and go, hey, that's Deborah Wilson. Deborah Wilson being the Minter character in Jedi.
Oh, that
and
actor.
she is also in Forspoken.
Oh, okay. Yeah, her. Yeah.
And she's also Amanda Waller in Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League.
Yeah, because she's in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is in this. I actually did not recognize the name of her character in this, so they might be someone I've never heard of. And here's why I went into the Podlord channel on the podcast Discord and asked Podlords to not include data from the leak in their Podlords. Troy Baker's Mr. Sinister.
And he's been with us the whole time.
Not only is he voicing Mr. Sinister, this is also facial capture, so Mr. Sinister will just look like Troy Baker.
Like he always has.
You're right, exactly.
I'm glad I don't yet have context for Mr. Sinister, so this will be fun.
Oh, this is going to be good.
This will be fun.
He might even have a plan.
Yes.
Mr. Sinister is the most I have bizarre plans of the X-Men villains, I think.
Yes. That's awesome.
Good.
Mr. Sinister looks wild, and also there's been so many bizarre things. They've made up so many weird things. Like originally he was supposed to be like an illusion that an evil child was projecting out into the world. That's why his name was Mr. Sinister, because it was supposed to be like a stupid name a child would pick.
Right.
But they never actually did that. They just admitted later, I think Chris Claremont admitted the biggest X-Man in Miter at the time was like, yeah, I decided not to go in that direction. then there was a weird period where he was invincible except from Cyclops' eye beams. That was the only thing that could hurt him.
I mean, I feel like those should be a hurt anything, so that checks out.
But we got this game is going to have 2 protagonists. That came out in this leak.
Oh,
that I don't know.
The other protagonist will be Jean Grey. So and the gameplay footage has like her using her psychic powers to throw guys around, so it's not going to be like a Mary Jane situation. She seems to be like a fully fleshed out character.
huh?
So they jumped me early with the X-Men game.
Yeah,
Good.
crazy.
Thank you.
Here's something Dan will be unhappy about. The person playing Wolverine, Dan and Bob both have experience with them.
Oh,
Don't say.
no.
Don't say it's Deke.
It is not Sam Witwer. That would be really funny. It is Marcus Phoenix's son.
Oh, it's JD?
Yeah, I don't really.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I don't know anything else about him other than that one role.
Liam McIntyre, I think is his name, the Australian actor.
That's
All right,
okay. All right.
So
okay.
not Steve Bloom.
not Steve.
Not
Blue.
Steve Bloom. Not somehow Hugh Jackman. Huh.
All right.
I gotta get this out here, otherwise it will never be said on Big Thing. Bob, somebody in chat said it. I had to go double check it because I didn't believe it. Deborah Wilson shows up in all these games. I never connected her in-game appearance with. That was the lady on Mad TV back in the late 90s and early aughts, and I'm losing my mind right now as I deal with that.
No, that's not all right.
That is a lot to cope with. That is a lot to cope with.
There does seem to be some open world elements to the game from that footage, but descriptions of characters implied that there will be like multiple maps. Like it won't be one huge area you're in the whole game. Like it will be smaller areas you travel between.
Okay, so maybe it's something like a God of War.
I'm gonna move on to their release schedule. I will say all those leaks about Wolverine being 2024 were wrong. That's 2026.
Microsoft, wrong again. Are we sure that the information that says that is recent? Because this leak has information dating back to, I think, 2020.
2020. But this leak has their entire release schedule up till 2032.
Jesus.
And there's no reason to believe it's coming out sooner. Anything's coming out sooner than this. Like, this seems like a fairly recent schedule.
Man, and they showed off a Wolverine. They announced Wolverine
in 2021, I think.
God, with oh my god, wow,
with just the claw coming out. And if you look at the footage, it's pre-alpha for sure. Like nothing is done.
Which is to say, it looks like a mostly done PS4 game, which is not how it is allowed to look.
No, I mean there's stuff like here's the climbing animations on the wall of grid.
Yeah.
That has no texture or model.
I've watched the footage. It is clearly a game that is being competently made that is nowhere near done. But 2026 is still like, that's almost 3 full years out.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because I don't think it's launching in the last 10 days of 2026. So it's not a full 3 years. Good Lord, though.
They had like a little scale, like how late in the year it's supposed to come out. And that one was real close to the end. So I would say probably end of October, early November.
Yeah. Insomniac do like
anyway,
that time slot.
Here's Insomniac's schedule until 2032.
Spoilers.
2025. Venom.
Okay.
We did it. We did it. They did not make the wrong decision, which is making a fucking Silk game. They made the correct decision of making a Venom game. I wonder if they will be doing Spider-Man 2 DLC that's like introduces like their version of Eddie Brock. Because I can't see it being Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be weird.
It's Otto Octavius taking control of Harry's body.
Oh my
I'd
God,
also
Bob,
take that.
do you realize what that means? Now we really have to watch the Venom movies.
Yes.
God damn it. And then I'm going to be playing the game and have the Eminem song stuck in my head.
2026, Wolverine. 2028, Spider-Man 3. 2029, Ratchet and Clank. So it's gonna be 8 years between Ratchet and Clank games.
Man,
that's even longer than 2000, the remake to Rift Apart.
I'm surprised Ratchet's even on here. I'm glad that he is, but
I guess his role is launch title, because that would put it at the exact same spot relative to the PS6 launch that Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart is to the PS5 launch. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. What in the fuck?
2030, X-Men.
Great.
And there's the implication that they want to do a X-Men trilogy like Spider-Man. Like they want to do an X-Men trilogy where you play as all these different characters building up to Apocalypse being the villain.
Can we just all admit it was a fucking dickish move for them to not have Beast walk out at the end of Spider-Man 1, Miles Morales, or 2, in order to make me personally look like an asshole? Like, they clearly are doing the X-Men games.
Yeah, they just didn't want to show their hand.
We don't need Blue Fraser. We don't need more instances of Blue Fraser.
Look, it doesn't need to look like Fraser. It needs to act like Fraser, but...
This is important.
It doesn't need to look like him. The important thing is getting Beast out at the end of a game, because that's buggers.
And also they promised some kind of new IP in the 2030 range. Who the fuck knows what that is?
Man.
So what I'm seeing, okay, just glancing past Wolverine, is that the PS6 with Spider-Man 3, Ratchet and Clank, and X-Men has a pretty good lineup. I have the PS5 right now.
I like that those leaks about Spider-Verse happening is a game from them are seemingly fake. Like that's not on here.
No, those seemingly were real and it was canceled.
Good.
The plan was it was supposed to not be like Spider-Man 2 or 3. It was supposed to be their version of GTA Online.
Ugh.
Yeah, I have no idea what form it was supposed to take, but that's what I heard.
Man, I wonder how much development time was ruined on yet another live service multiplayer game in a Sony studio.
Yeah, I wonder why Wolverine moves from 2023 to 2026.
Oh, well.
Also included in the Insomniac leak was a bunch of Sony internals.
Okay.
Horizon Forbidden West has lower sales than Horizon Zero Dawn and probably always will because it was put on PS Plus Fucky Wucky tier. It completely flatlined that game's sales, like stone fucking dead. They have a chart. They have a chart. I put it in that channel in the channel if Dan wants to grab it and show people. Corpsed.
They need something to test their theory, which was an obvious theory.
The question is, can I show this? Or will Sony go full Nintendo? I don't know how this is working out for other people.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I feel like we could just say that the chart that flatlines, and people believe that.
Check this out. I have this program. It's called Paint. So we're going to take one line. And white on white. Good choice. Anyways. And then it does this. And then we have at this point where that went, and then we have activations. And that goes like this. Okay, great. This is a beautiful image. This articulates it perfectly without me getting Sony. Yes, please save that as untitled.jpg. Future Dan will be surprised what the hell that image is. So anyways, it looks something like this. That is actually really accurate to how this looks. Let me size that up for y'all.
Basically, Forbidden West was tracking higher than Zero Dawn, which makes sense. More people can play it. It's a bigger franchise now. Then it got added to PS Plus, and then Zero Dawn overtook it. By this point in Zero Dawn's lifespan, it had sold around 11 million copies.
Yeah, and they're still...
Forbidden West has been at 8 for almost a full year.
Yeah,
Basically, since they added it, it died, and like 4 million people played it on PS Plus, but nobody bought it. Nobody. Like, it completely becomes a fucking horizontal plane.
So breaking down the code, the blue is actual sales. The red is how many activations there are. So the moment it went on PlayStation Plus, you can see that goes way above. Gray is Horizon Zero Dawn and what the tail on that thing's sales were. So you can see the exact moment that the blue flattens out. Yeah, that is rough. That is really rough.
Hey, proving that thing that everyone has said.
And here's the weird part.
Even
we can state gravity exists, and you can't even say we're fanboys anymore. We have internal documents that show
there's
that's
even
exactly what
discussions like if we want to put the shit on these servers, there's literally a document where it says we're not that worried about Xbox anymore. They clearly can't be making any money from Game Pass.
Yeah, no shit.
Like, you can't develop your own games and then put them day one on this and make money. You cannot. It is not possible.
I mean, we've literally been saying that the whole time.
They literally, like, we need at least 2 full years before our first party games go on to this service, or we're leaving money on the table. So even a year and a half out isn't enough time for it to just not eat what remaining sales you can get.
Yeah, it was interesting. There was a reference to Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart going on PlayStation Plus and them wanting to have what they called booster content available at time for that, so that way they could monetize it a little bit more. But because of all the teams being shifted to Spider-Man 2, they didn't have that ready in time.
That's so sad, because I would love to buy DLC for Ratchet and Clank.
Same.
Yeah. I assume we're getting maybe like a little thing like Valhalla for Ratchet and Clank. That'd be nice.
I mean,
wet the beak a little. For the next 5 years, we have to wait for another Ratchet game.
I mean, I've been saying it the whole time. Just give me arena content,
right?
There was again 1 terabyte of data. There's a lot of shit in this leak.
Yeah,
a lot. We found out sales for a lot of games. That's pretty interesting. Most of them are pretty standard, except we finally know how much Bloodborne sold, because they never really gassed that one up. Like, they didn't do the Sony. It sold 7.5 million, which is pretty fucking good.
Yeah, that's really fucking good, because you know that game didn't cost an insane amount of money.
No.
That's 1 million more in sales than Halo 5 got.
Hey, that's not even before the giant downturn. That's
and the funniest thing, the 7.5 million, this document's old enough where that's before Elden Ring comes out, and it could have gotten another buff.
Yeah, so where's the fucking patch, Sony? Where's the fucking upgrade, Sony?
What the fuck? You know who I would have preferred a giant leak from? Blue Point. What the fuck are they doing? I just need to know. Man, also, that was double upsetting for me, because I was really pissed that Microsoft isn't doing better by Halo.
Yeah.
Like, it only do 6 mil? Really? Really?
So we also got this was not part of this leak, but I'm going to talk about it now because I think it is relevant for what we're about to go into. Sony has sold 50 million PS5s. That is 1-to-1 with last gen. December 2016, they were like, we've sold 50 million. 3 years in, and now this time, 3 years in, we've sold 50 million.
I have questions. This 50 million is from a statement they made recently, or
it is from an article recently. Yes.
Okay.
That included some data for Microsoft and Nintendo also.
Okay.
Oh, and for the record, Sony sales are up like 22% year over year. So they sold 22%.
It's still the positive upward trend that you normally expect from a console. It's just the PS4
just identical to the PS4's upward trend. Like, it's identical. Xbox sales are down 15% from last year, moving 7.6 million units. Microsoft has moved 22.5 million PS5s this year.
Series consoles, you mean?
Yes, series consoles. Both Xboxes.
That's
7.6, a 15% decline year over year. It's year 3, guys. It's year 3. Like, no wonder that so many places are like Series X 350.
Yeah, I mean,
Series S 200, Series S 150. They like, you can't sell Game Pass if people don't have the box it's on.
I mean, yeah, but the problem is they won't get the box it's on without the content. Like, it's like everyone always says, content is king, right? Mm-hmm. You know what you're buying a PS5 for, you're probably buying it for Spider-Man. What the fuck are you buying an Xbox for right now? The Forza game that didn't have the fucking dignity to actually promote?
That doesn't have fucking music?
That doesn't have fucking music because you cheaped out and didn't want to pay for licensing?
Starfield, the game literally no one seems to even like.
Starfield should have been it if something was it, but this ain't it.
Yeah.
Yeah, down the year they released Starfield.
Yeah.
Yup.
Like, what the fuck is left?
So about that
what
interview,
can save them?
That interview that Phil Spencer does after Redfall comes out, right as he's throwing the entire studio under the bus, where he goes, "We can't win."
That, I guess he was right.
Yeah, no, they're done.
I still think they can win, but not with any of the shit they're doing. They need to make high-profile, important games. If they made a Fable correctly and it was out by now, it would have been saved.
Yeah, but that's not. They can win if they started 3 years ago. They could maybe be winning.
Right, but I've been listening to this shit for 3 years.
Well, yeah, it's all been lies. They haven't made any progress towards anything.
It's so frustrating. They could have had they could have pivoted away from Halo Infinite, started developing a new single-player focused Halo and promoted that, and that would have given the console promise. Right now, Halo fans have no reason to believe in this console. They could have done any number of things. Forza Motorsport could have had a number at the end, thus to prove it's a real fucking Forza and not some horrible infinite game nightmare. Like, there are so many ways they could have done this better, and instead they just didn't try fully on all of it. How much of that is fueled by, like, not having the money because of Game Pass?
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
I don't know. Like, they sit there and then it feels like they reverse engineer. Well, we're not going to make money, so we're not going to spend anywhere near as much as anyone else. And it's like, you can't do that. You're the console owner. Mm-hmm. You're the platform holder. Do you think Nintendo only spends as much money on their games as the people on the Switch other than them? Like, fuck no. You know they're spending way more. You know Nintendo is spending a lot of money making a Mario Odyssey.
Right.
Switch is down 18% from last year, but it's been out 7 years. And also that even being down 18%, that's still 16.4 million.
What
was the Xbox number?
Xbox sold 22.5 million in 3 years. Nintendo sold 16 point what in one?
No. That 22.5 is Sony's PS5 sales for this year.
Oh. Yeah, you missaid that earlier.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Sony's sales are up 22%. They have sold 22.5 million PS5s in this year.
Okay.
Xboxes are down 15%. They have sold 6.6 million units.
7.6, right?
Yeah, 7.6 million this year in 2023.
And you just said the Switch sold how many?
16.4. So yes, over the PS5 has sold almost 3 times as much as the Xbox this year, and the Switch has sold over double what Xbox sold this year.
So about why we all as an industry should probably wake the fuck up and go, there's a reason Xbox is a distant third, because this doesn't just happen.
No.
That's deranged. I'm trying to think if there's ever been this distant of a third before.
Nintendo during the GameCube?
I don't know if that was that distant. I mean, the problem...
the problem is if you compare all three again, this is the furthest back anybody's ever been. Like, yeah, the PS2 was way fucking ahead.
But...
And the Xbox was ahead of the GameCube, but not by this much.
Right. Yeah.
And that was at the end of the gen. We're in the middle of this gen. Sony said we expect to sell more PS5's lifetime than we sold PS4s.
Which makes sense if they're going to reduce. Like, here's the thing, and this is the core argument I want to have right now, the core discussion. If they're selling 1-to-1 with the PS4, and it is $100 more than the PS4 was at launch, and now $200 more than it was by this point in its life, there is clearly more demand for the PS5 than the PS4. Basic economics teaches us that. So it makes sense then, to Sony at least, that if they continue to reduce the price from here, they're going to sell more than they sold PS4s. Like, I think it's a pretty easy thing to point at the PS5 and go, that's a much better gaming experience than the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
Like, already, because not only do you have the back compat to have a giant catalog,
Right.
it is a much better experience in that you don't spend forever installing games now and updating games. You load everything faster and everything runs well. It's a good system with innovative things. I'm excited to see the next few years and see if that holds true, or if it's just literally this is an inbuilt audience that always buys 1 year in, 2 years in, 3 years in, and the price change didn't fucking matter, which means Sony's right to not lower the price. I'm curious what you two think. What do you think?
I think we are at or near the point where on consoles, PC is different. It's more democratic. There's all these different part manufacturers. It's much more popular in areas of the world where consoles are less popular. This is just consoles. I think we might be at like, yeah, until the population increases, this is as many people as play games on console. And that's going to be a rude fucking awakening for all these companies that seem to be acting under the impression that the line will go up forever.
Oops, the finite boundaries of a physical universe.
There it is.
And the thing that makes me think this is Honkai Star Rail doing real well. Genshin Impact not doing as well since Honkai Star Rail launched on PS on consoles. So they split their own audience between these two games. It didn't create an equal amount of people spawned from the ether to spend an equal amount of money on this new thing. It's almost like people have as much money as they have.
And as much time as they have, which is why the whole live service game industry seemingly imploded this year, as all of the ones that were in development imploded, except for Concord. Please look forward to whatever that and...
There's no way we're ever going to hear about Concord ever again.
I mean, you're going to hear it in the year-round roundup for news for 2023 in like 20 minutes.
So we
year.
might be entering, it's deeply pathetic that this might happen. The AAA crash might happen just because the companies go, wait, there's only so many people and we actually have to compete for them?
Yeah, I mean, companies have lost the ability to meaningfully compete with each other. No, the Xbox price drops for the holiday season are limited time sales. They will not lower the price of the Xbox.
No, of course not.
Yeah, we're coming to a point in this industry and several others, which is interconnected into this point, that trying to predict trends and strategies far into the future comes up against, we're getting pretty late into capitalism itself here. So large-scale contractions are going to start taking places in industries and reshaping basically the way our economy functions, if it still does that. So yeah, when we hit actually, maximum saturation, like, oh, what do we do now? I don't know. Ask me if we still have a government at that point.
Like, I've been doing reading this week about different bubbles in different industries. And it's just like, it's clear as day if you look at the symptoms and then look at gaming. It's a gaming bubble. It's going to burst pretty soon. Market's going to contract. A lot of people are going to lose everything.
Yeah, like a lot of these great super games that are coming out, I'm looking at is, wow, we shouldn't have made these. I'm glad they got made, and I'm going to look back on them as amazing, beautiful things right before everything that produced them burned to the ground.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird that we've had multiple times this year that we looked at, I feel like in the last few years, where we've looked at the larger, more important publishers in the West, and they've just turned out a thing where you go, there was no world where that was going to make all of its money back. Like Immortals of Avium.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really good example of, dude, this is too much money.
With the data, what data we're about to go into, we can make rough estimates for how much Immortals of Avium probably cost.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine it cost anywhere near as much as the Sony shit?
It can't, right?
It's like 15 hours long and has all this side content you didn't do and is a next gen exclusive game. Like, that was EA's big AAA original IP for this year.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
It was probably comparable.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was probably over $200 million. Hey, Bob, do you think anyone should spend over $200 million making Immortals of Avium?
No, I think if I did that, I would walk into the ocean.
Just to prevent you from doing more harm.
Right.
That's honorable of you, actually.
That seems irrational.
It is. Would you say that's irrational exuberance?
I would.
Weird.
God damn it.
Yeah, it feels like there's nothing in that game.
Yeah, I mean,
it feels like empty hallways we walk through.
It's really pretty skyboxes and mocapped live action cutscenes, and you know those cost a lot.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Now let's get into it. This is from 2020, so some of these are projections.
Okay.
But I'm going to now say various games, how much they cost, and the break-even point that Insomniac that is in this document. That Insomniac says how many sales they needed to break even. Miles Morales,
Okay.
budget of $156 million.
Which is holy shit.
They needed $3 million to break even.
That's not too bad.
Spider-Man 1 remastered with the fucked up face.
Yeah.
$39 million budget. $1 million to break even.
Real quick, to anyone who's not paying attention, who's asleep at the podcast wheel,
Uh-huh.
that is not Spider-Man 1.
No.
That is the process of turning it into a PS5 game cost $40 million?
Yeah, what?
$39 million.
That seems insane. How did that get greenlit?
Well, they had to add in ray tracing. They had to modify basically every cutscene to insert the new face.
Right. No, I understand how it ended up taking that much money. How did they end up
greenlighting
that? That seems just stupid. Like a huge waste of resources.
Rift Apart. Budget of $81 million.
Shockingly low.
Yeah, only
That is-
double to what it took to remaster a game they shouldn't have remastered.
Or put another way, that is almost half. It's slightly over half of the cost of Miles Morales.
And that game is so much more incredible than Miles Morales.
Yeah, it's almost like one of these is a real open world, and that balloons the fucking cost insanely.
Break-even point of $2 million. And I believe data has come out since that. I think Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart has sold like 2.8.
Yes.
Which I think is pretty good for a more niche title that's only on PS5.
Yeah, it says somebody in chat saying it hit 2.7 million in February of last year. So it's doing pretty well.
Oh, so it's pretty good.
Okay.
Spider-Man 2. $315 million as the budget.
I just
That's
want to
more than double Miles Morales. Even with making 2 games like this prior and being able to bring all those assets and all those systems and all those animations over, which they did, you can see them in Spider-Man 2. $315 million.
So I really need to know, how much did God of War Ragnarok cost?
Right? I want to know that real bad.
How much of this cost is introduced by Insomniac doing their open world stuff? Because God of War Ragnarok is an open world, but is a lot more constrained in how alive it is.
Right. It's not a simulation like these cities are. It's just large hallways with lots of things in them.
And I yet again wish to know how much Days Gone cost.
There was a report earlier this year that it was $200 million for Ragnarok.
Wow. Yeah, and that still has a bunch of the like bespoke, specially made boss fights and stuff that this has, but it's missing the open world, which adds that $150 million, I guess.
And we have someone in chat saying apparently on the record, Ghost of Tsushima cost 60 mil. 60.
That's
Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
That game did look less like
Full
billions
of-
and billions of dollars into the assets.
And it has
Right.
less of the bespoke content.
And the less open world like simulation, like there aren't a lot of cities that are populated, and when they are,
Yeah, there's
they're
not
more limited.
NPCs. There's not. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that game sold pretty well too.
Yeah, it sold like 12 million, I think, so far.
This is
Million.
Yeah, 12 million.
Okay. It sounded like billion. It's like, whoa.
So
I wish.
So Ghost of Tsushima just reset the entire world.
the industry grew to fit this one game.
No wonder Rise of the Ronin is happening. Why isn't they all making Japanese inspiring samurai?
I bought 4 copies. How many did you buy?
17.
Anyway, 315 million, according to Insomniac. Their break even is 5.5 million sales to get in the black.
That's insane. Like, we haven't hit that yet, I don't think.
No, of course not.
That's crazy.
So the question is, how many of those sales do they anticipate? Like, you can't just multiply what the launch price is against that number, right? Because the sales come as the years go. So the question is, did they account for that?
Mm.
Yeah.
Like, how soon do we need to get this 5.5 million to break even?
I'm skipping to the last one. I'm going in the
Okay.
order they intend to be released. Wolverine, 305 million. With a 5 million to break even.
Okay, we got to talk. You made a game, Spider-Man 2, that is the third game in a series taking place in the same city and reused a lot of things. Now, keep in mind, I know it's much higher fidelity, everything. But doing that, the third game with these mechanics and things that you have refined and improved, whatever, that's not the point. You spent more money than the completely new from the ground up Wolverine game.
Yeah.
I assume it's as simple as like, we have to make more of the open world for Spider-Man because he swings around. It can go to any verticality and can see anything from any angle. And Wolverine isn't going to have the ability to do that.
It's like, it seems so crazy. There really is that diminishing returns thing of like, how much more does it cost to make the assets look this much better when we zip by them so fast anyway?
That is something that Insomniac devs say in some of these internal slides where it's like, this cost $100 million more than this. Did any player even notice?
Yeah, a lot of
like
that
if you had told me after I cleared Spider-Man 2 that game cost $315 million, I would have said, "Fuck you, how?"
If you told me that game cost twice as much as Miles Morales, I would struggle to believe that.
Yeah, because that Miles also does a lot of cool set piece stuff and unique things.
And amazing looking cutscenes.
Right? Yeah, and then most of the time you're playing it, it doesn't, like, I'd say this in the review too, of like, I thought it would look better. Like, it doesn't, nothing in there was blowing me away in the regular game.
Well, Bob, on the PS5 Pro.
Like, that's fine. Like, it didn't need to look better. It obviously could have looked worse. It could have looked the same level as Miles Morales, because that's kind of how I perceived it. Like, yeah, these are the same animation and stuff. It's cool they have these new attacks.
Yeah, I mean, it looks better, but like, in a way that seemed less on a content authoring side and more on a like the tech side. And I guess those two are so hand in hand. It's whatever. How much like I always hear the point brought up like, game development's going to get so much easier when ray tracing is the standard for lighting. How much could that possibly reduce out of a $315 million budget?
Yeah. And we see that it didn't reduce much because that game is only ray traced.
Yeah, that's true. Not every part of it's ray traced, but it does have only a ray trace mode. So in theory, some part of it was easier to make.
Yeah, they saved money by doing that.
Allegedly. It's probably ray trace shadows though, which obviously those aren't authored per se as much as they are. But you know, that what was it? The Digital Foundry thing where they do an interview with the tech guy over at Insomniac. They go into, yeah, we're still pre-baking like 16 different times a day and then doing transitionary things, and I'm like, wow, that's a shitload of work.
Yeah, it is.
That is a shitload of work. $315 million, and Wolverine's $10 million less.
Yeah.
Now I need again. I need people to keep this in mind. We just talked about how the PS PS4 and PS5 are 1-to-1 in sales, like as time progresses. PS4 kicked the shit out of the PS3.
Right.
Yeah.
Like part of the reason Sony's game budgets could inflate so much, which they weren't this inflated at the start of the gen, like Second Son didn't have.
Killzone Shadowfall does not have, Horizon money.
Yeah, even like Uncharted 4 was like 40 million, I think it came out. It was like something ludicrously small compared to these modern games. So when I say the budget that they have for Spider-Man 3, keep in mind that there's no reason to believe they will have a larger potential consumer pool than they had for Spider-Man 1. Spider-Man 3's budget is $385 million.
Maybe they're taking into account a prospective economy collapse where the value of the dollar plummets.
So you're telling me Spider-Man 3 will thus cost $200?
I think there was some stuff in some of this data that leaked where it's like maybe we go up to 80.
No way.
Whoa.
No way.
Like as a floating it thing, because there's stuff where it's basically them scrambling to try and find a way to make this make sense.
It just
like
doesn't.
Even internally, these companies are realizing that the Grim Reaper is at their fucking door, but they can't pull back because they don't know what to do other than that.
Could we release multiple games of the same scale as Ratchet and Clank? That's impossible.
Could we release multiple games on the same scale as seemingly Miles Morales?
Yeah. No.
Oh, why not?
No.
Why not?
I assume that's Venom. I assume that is Venom.
I don't know
Venom
anymore.
is not on this.
These budgets are polluting so hard that I'm like, I mean, Venom's gonna cost more than Miles Morales for certain.
They at least made him fully playable already, so that's something. But obviously, to flesh that out more to make a full game.
It's fucking nuts. Like and the fact that we now know this is happening to Sony, the company I think all of us thought had this under the most control.
And has the cheat code of not having to pay their rent.
Right. They don't have to pay a percentage of the sale price. They're the platform holder, so they just pay the Spider-Man tax.
Like Rockstar will have to pay the Sony tax. If the rumors of GTA 6's budget actually being $1 billion are real, I need you guys to understand that means they need to sell 20 million copies to break even.
And yet they could.
Yeah, they're
gonna
do it.
Here's the thing. GTA 6 will make money. There's no way it won't, but I think they're going to reach the end and be like, that made exactly as much money as GTA 5. Exactly. Why did we spend over 5 times as much developing it?
I mean, the funny thing is, I bet it won't make as much as GTA 5 immediately because GTA 5 came out at the end of the PS3 and then got the Well, then again,
I went back and checked sales in the first quarter it was out. It still sold 32 million, so it's still going to break even real fast.
Yeah, and then the endless money pit that of GTA Online didn't even launch till like 6 months later.
Right.
So.
My thing is, I'm trying to weigh how many people have a PS5 2 years from now. Versus how many people had a 7th gen console in 2013 when that game came out.
Don't worry. If it keeps holding to the 1-to-1 ratio, when GTA 6 comes out, there will be 90 million PS5s in consumer hands.
Yeah, they'll do fine.
Yeah,
they got this.
No problem. But again, they're the ones that are safe. It's
everyone else.
I mean, again, they're safe, but I think they're going to look and be like, what did we get from spending 5 times as much making this? Seemingly nothing. We got no financial boost at all.
I think it's everyone else that's a concern, because
I feel like they might understand that their place in the industry is to do that.
Right, they're the only ones higher than Sony.
Right,
like Sony gets to do it because Sony doesn't have to pay a Sony tax. When they invest in the games, they're investing in the platform, a concept I wish Microsoft understood. Rockstar is the only people above them who gets to spend more money than God and be fine. No one, literally no one else holds that position.
Right.
We've heard leaks about how much other games cost and how it is these numbers in some cases. And that's absolutely insane. That's harrowing. I don't understand how the larger industry can commit prices anywhere near this and feel safe.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I need the sheet of this for like EA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How much did Star Wars Jedi Survivor cost?
How much
I
does
need this for
Avatar the game
EA.
cost?
I need it for Ubisoft. I need it for Capcom and Square Enix.
Yeah, no,
Just for comparison, I would love to know how much like Resident Evil 4 Remake cost.
I am positive Resident Evil 4 Remake and Street Fighter 6 cost radically less than probably everything.
yeah, I can't.
No shit.
Right, like I can't imagine those not being like.
Hey guys, which would you rather spend $156 million on, Miles Morales or Street Fighter 6?
See, and again, not to go backwards, I'm just sitting here thinking of, well, how does Resident Evil 4 Remake and like this Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, like how does it look notably different to me from my eyes from these big expensive Sony things and big expensive like other Western things? It's like, though the Japanese ones look better because they run in a higher native resolution. When you have this temporal AA squashing, it doesn't matter how much time you spend modeling that dude's pores, it's getting obliterated by FSR. So you spent more to look worse.
But in the case of Sony's thing, starting next year on the high-end version, it'll be fine.
But yeah, so like 2028, let's assume they have 130 million PS5s by then, which would be slightly higher than the PS4, I think.
Okay.
They release Spider-Man. Is it going to make Spider-Man 3? Is it going to make more money than Spider-Man 2? No, probably not.
Is it going to
Like,
make
it's not
more
gonna
money than Spider-Man 2?
No, probably not. Is my stance. Like, it's going to sell about the same.
I bet it'll sell more. We always see that with consoles. Like later in life, you have more consoles
they
out.
usually don't actually sell more. They sell more initially because more people have the platform, but then sales slow down more quickly. We saw that if you compare Breath of the Wild sales to Tears of the Kingdom sales. Tears of the Kingdom sales since launch have been much, much lower than Breath of the Wild's, but Tears of the Kingdom sold 22 million fucking copies instantly.
Well, this with Spider-Man's launch time, it might launch. It'll probably launch cross-gen.
I mean, yeah, Spider-Man 3 apparently is a 2028 game, and if Sony sticks to their current roadmap, that's when the PS6 comes out.
Right, so we get the buff of being a game for a brand new console, and that will carry them as well as just having all those people already own it for the PS4.
And here's the thing. This is their projected budget. It could very easily be more.
It could.
I just don't think, like, with this one, now that we have the 1-to-1 ratio, like, I don't think it'll sell more lifetime than Spider-Man 2. I think they're just going to sit here wondering, why did we spend more money on it? It sold exactly as much as the last one that cost less. Like that now, that is now the challenge that these companies have to contend with. Like, you can't, the line has stopped going up. We have reached diseconomy of scale. It's here. Literally the finite boundaries of physical universe are here.
This is complicated because, once again, I think later in the console life, you are able to sell more to a larger audience. Like in the Breath of the Wild thing is a very interesting situation because a lot of people view Tears of the Kingdom as like a Majora's Mask style sequel to Breath of the Wild. You know, Breath of the Wild, watershed moment of gaming. Mm-hmm. Tears of the Kingdom can't be that again. There's a chance Spider-Man 3 is just a radically better game than Spider-Man 2. That is not even hard for me to imagine. Because
the sales are already so high. It just, like, will it get 25% more than Spider-Man 2?
Well, their break-even point on sales here says 5.5 million. And I would really like to know why that is the same number on both Spider-Man 2 and 3. Is it because they expect more of the lifetime sales to be closer to launch? Because, you know, if a long tail, unless you're Nintendo, doesn't matter as much as getting those sales at launch when your price is the highest. But Nintendo keeps their price really high almost always. But yeah, this is not tenable. This is not sustainable.
No.
This is not for the broader market. This is a real problem. For Sony, this is a mild problem. Because
Sony needs to stop drinking. Everybody else has already lost the house gambling while drunk.
Doing ketamine.
And like, can you imagine? I don't think, and I think they're this stupid. I think we have to imagine that Microsoft is staring down a suite of games that just aren't shipping that have development costs comparable to this.
You think what game do you think of theirs cost $315 million?
Starfield for one. I think Starfield easily costs that much, if not more.
I think if there is a single game Microsoft owns, it's got to be Starfield, right?
That or Perfect Dark. That's another one they've just been pumping who knows how much money in for.
I mean, they've been working 2 studios on it for years, and nothing's coming out.
Yeah, I think they could get this high for Elder Scrolls, which I think could bring back the Bethesda magic a little and save them. But they're seemingly
they're cowards and won't give it the money it needs.
That would go very poorly for them.
Yes, that would go insanely poorly.
If it looked anywhere near the fidelity Avowed has.
Yeah, those people would just implode.
They would tear Microsoft apart.
Yeah.
Are they 4 years deep? Like, are they 4 years deep in making in making Gears 6 that cost $200 million? Is Fable a $200 million game?
Yeah, here's another interesting question chat's bringing up. What's the deal with Hellblade? How much are they spending on Hellblade right now?
Hellblade could be 350. We don't know.
They're such a tiny studio. Like, how?
It's not going to be 350 because Hellblade's not going to be a giant open world full of immersive things. If you look at Ratchet and Clank, it's only 81 million. So there's a chance it's somewhere closer to or above a Miles Morales. I bet it's 200 million, probably more, which is an insane amount of money to sink into Hellblade. Because, yeah, Hellblade's going to be a bunch of hallways. Like, we already saw enough gameplay footage of Hellblade 2 where it's like, yeah, that's Hellblade 1.
Yeah.
I don't think that game's going to be radically different from that expectation, but who knows? Who knows? Either way, these numbers are insane.
They're marketing Hellblade like they're God of War, so if it comes out and is Hellblade 1 but prettier.
Yeah, they're going to get raked through the coals, which will be nothing new for Microsoft.
But you have to remember with the stuff we talked about with Horizon, we can assume that sales of first-party Microsoft games on Xbox, maybe it's a little better on PC, are effectively zero.
Yeah, like, because the subscription service,
yeah.
There's absolutely no reason to believe they somehow have a magically different audience that will buy this game at a high rate, even half the rate they normally would.
when you go to the store, like an Xbox store, you open it up, you try and buy it, and it tells you could buy Game Pass instead.
Right.
They're going to do that.
Right, exactly. Oh, yeah, this makes me worry about how much every other game costs. A lot. Like, this makes me worry about, like,
the
Immortals
$5
of
million
Avium was probably 300 million or something.
Right.
It was probably 200 million.
The 3 million sales that you need to pass to break even. There are 5 million sales to pass break even. It's like, these games aren't doing that. There's no world Immortals of Avium does that.
No.
Like that Horizon game, that has to be at least 300. That has to be at least, and they have to pay the Sony tax. So what, 6 to break even?
What Horizon game?
Not Horizon, Avatar.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that seems to be this year's hugest gross misuse of money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe it's fine. Maybe it sold really well and we just haven't heard about it.
Yeah. You seem to be like looking around really nervously as you said that completely viable thing you said. Anyways, this is all completely fucking insane.
Yeah. This
I mean,
industry is definitely.
I'm sure it's doing fine, Bob. There have been multiple places where you could buy that Avatar game for 40% off already.
I mean, it's Christmas season. They're just being
generous.
Yeah, the only game came out a week ago.
What is it? Sonic?
What is it? Damn it, Bob. Jesus Christ. Yeah, how much do you think that Suicide Squad game costs?
Oh, I would love to see those
That game
numbers.
has been in some form of development for, when it comes out, 11 years. Judas, how much does Judas cost?
That's
So, anyways, it is really a shame that the Western AAA industry is so sick. This doesn't seem viable at all going forward. It shocks me to my core to see, like, oh yeah, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, 81 million. It's like, then why aren't you making more things that scale?
yeah.
That was your most profitable game in this set.
Wow.
Like, I don't know how in the world even Miles Morales could have sold enough to be more profitable, more return on investment
Mm-hmm.
than Ratchet and Clank at this point.
Has Spider-Man on the box. That's pretty easy when all things considered. Well, pretty easy until you need 6 million sales to hit the black.
Right.
Then things start to get scary.
Right, because I'm not talking about hard absolute values of money. I'm talking about return on investment, like percent.
Like, and breaking even doesn't make you safe. Like, you need like, there's opportunity cost. There's all this shit. Like, if you spend 8 years, feels like we're spending longer and longer. These devs are spending longer and longer to make the same amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And clearly Ratchet had a bit of a faster dev cycle than Spider-Man 2.
It feels.
Maybe I don't know. I honestly don't know. I thought they started development when the reboot came out, so that would put it at about as long.
Good lord.
Uh-huh.
It has a much smaller team, though.
Yeah, I guess that'd be how much cheaper it'd be.
Yeah, isn't it weird when you scale production down, things get cheaper on a faster than linear scale? Because as it turns out, building your structure, your organization to be bigger and bigger on one project does not make it more effective at a 1-to-1 rate and making that one project. Crazy. Ludicrous.
I feel like this really did make me, like, broke the line for me where I'm like, I have to not care anymore. Like, I have to not care if the entire Western AAA industry collapses, because that's probably what's going to happen.
I mean, I feel like the correct thing is to be like full libertarian and be like, well, that's the market. The market wanted that. Oh, wait, no, full libertarian means we need to beg the government for money when our thing fails.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and keep in mind, 3 years ago when this chart came, we weren't on the verge of every economist saying a recession is going to happen. It's just a question of how long till it does. That makes this even scarier, because gaming revenue will be like the first thing to go woo down when, like, a recession happens and shit hits the fan.
I mean, certain types of gaming expenses. Like, I honestly think compared to a lot of other industries, gaming largely sticks through. Like, I genuinely believe that. There are a lot of other industries that get hit harder by recessions than gaming.
But with $70 is a lot of money, and it's going to be an extra lot if your hours got cut.
Yeah, no,
Or if you lost your job.
That is a part of the gaming industry. $70 price point is a part of the gaming industry that's totally fucked.
Yeah.
But this now, with these numbers, it makes total sense why everybody was rushing to make the super ultimate game, like the Infinite Online thing, because that's the only way these budgets make sense. Unless you're Sony.
Yep. And even then, it made sense to Sony to churn up every studio that was making a single player thing to try to make a live service game.
Hey, assholes. Get 500 people. Say, make whatever the fuck you want as long as it's done in 3 years. It doesn't have to look like a first-party Sony game. And then see what they make. You actually can just go back to older development styles. You just have to decide to do it.
It's truly insane that it's like, hey, what if you just made an infamous Second Son? That would cost barely anything, right?
Yeah.
That'd be cheaper than Spider-Man, any of them. And that's insane. Like, how many do you have to sell to break even on an infamous Second Son?
Man, hey, like,
it would
be, like 1 million?
It'd be really interesting to get, like, just standardize us knowing budgets like we do with movies.
Well, the movie thing is actually a scam too, because they hide a lot of the budgeting. They use the publicly announced budget in order to cut people out of getting paid.
Oh my god.
That happens a lot. In fact, there are people who've worked on movies.
They did that with the marketing more than
no,
like the
that's
actual
excluded.
budget.
That's excluded entirely. But no, they literally have movies that they've made entire franchises out of that they've gotten obviously a shitload of money from. Men in Black specifically, where people are not paid because allegedly the first movie never made any money.
Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah. It all sucks.
Yeah, as it turns out, no matter where you look,
It's
people be scamming.
like it's just so crazy that everybody went to this development style. It felt like even people who had no business trying to reach for the sun like this decided to burn themselves anyway. Like it feels like there is nobody making games at a more sustainable scale unless they're Eurojank devs or Japanese.
Yeah, and it's really bizarre that Sony even has successful, like, not even use case, like real world evidence, data that they can make a game like Ghost of Tsushima for radically less and it still sells like crazy.
Right. Yeah.
And
that they kept greenlighting going bigger and bigger. It's kind of crazy.
Also, you mentioned the opportunity cost thing and how that should drive them away from this, Chris, but they legitimately think of opportunity cost in the reverse direction as you, which is why this is
I know.
all of Insomniac's projects are
I know.
fucking X-Men.
Yeah.
They're all Spider-Man and X-Men.
Yeah, no.
And one Ratchet game 5 years from now.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It sucks. Yeah. It's dire.
Absolutely stupid. Sony could have the best first-party offering of original and historical IPs in gaming, and instead an entire studio is making Marvel shit.
Mm-hmm.
And like I made it clear,
It's not their fault, Dan. Every other studio Disney went and got to make Marvel shit made something that bombed. Every single other one. So now they have to go with the only studio to make them any fucking money at all.
and Arcane because they're making Blade.
Guess what
Allegedly.
will also fail?
It is going to do great.
Just like every Arcane game does, right?
They're going to spend $300 million on an Arcane Leon game.
Oh my god.
That probably, I'm sure to some extent, not as much as we'd like probably, but I'm sure to some extent these enormous budgets are Disney going, no, it has to be top shelf for the whole industry. It needs to be significantly more expensive than everything else in the industry.
Wait, you think Midnight Suns had pressure from Disney to spend more than it should have? No, I'm sure the XCOM people were like, yeah, we would love to balloon up our fucking production in order to have these amazing looking cutscenes.
Uh-huh.
But I think that might be
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we're
one last thing in news. It's not directly related to this, but it is something.
spiritually.
It's me being fucking mad at Microsoft again.
Oh, okay.
So Josh Sawyer over at Obsidian, apparently they've been consistently pitching like, hey, let us do a Elder Scrolls spinoff. Hey, let us do a Fallout spinoff. Hey, for like years and nothing. Like always rejected. And the fact that if Microsoft hasn't approved any of that shit by now, they're brain dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Bethesda doesn't want them to.
You own them now. Tell them to shut the fuck up.
Hey, maybe now that Starfield did a Starfield, they'll let them.
Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be if Bethesda makes it, we are bare minimum 10 years, a full calendar decade out from a Fallout 5. Let Obsidian make a Fallout game when they ship that fucking Avowed thing. Just let them make a Fallout game. Just let them do it.
No, I'm sorry. They're working on a spin-off of Starfield.
No, they're making the Outer Worlds 2.
But that's it for the news. What a nightmare. Yeah, my only thoughts at the end of this is like, man, this barely looks sustainable for Sony, and who knows for how long. Like, of course, a Wolverine game's going to sell like crazy.
Yeah.
More Spider-Man games going to sell like crazy, and X-Men's going to sell like crazy. But what about the rest of Sony?
Yeah, what about
things
that Mass
aren't
Effect
Marvel?
thing that Last of Us is doing? That's a new IP that Naughty Dog is doing. That's a new IP that's supposed to be sci-fi Mass Effect-esque. That probably has a budget of $300 million.
Well, it's going to say from the creators of The Last of Us, and that'll ship 10 million copies.
They definitely didn't lose a huge part of their audience, was 2.
No, that's sold well, apparently. That was a part of the leak, too. It was 7 million
Wow.
by whenever that leaked.
This is
Who knows?
Well, yeah, but you can never tell. You can never tell how good a game will do by the sales of the previous game. The quality of a game determines the quality of the sales of the next game. That's why Devil May Cry 2 has still sold more than Devil May Cry 3. Because
Yeah.
Devil May Cry 1 was great and Devil May Cry 2 was bad.
But no, Devil May Cry 2 is great, which is why it sold more.
yeah, obviously.
But anyway, that's going to do it. Bob and I are streaming tomorrow. We're doing like a fun little Christmas stream because we wanted something casual for, the Christmas weekend. So come on by. You get to vote on whether we play a terrible or delightful game from our youth. You get to choose whether we get a treat or coal. And who knows what nightmares might show up there. It's going to be a nice, casual, fun time. Dr. Aggro, what do you got going on?
I have one more big box retail shift before Christmas. So tomorrow, I'm going to watch a Muppet Christmas Carol an undisclosed number of times and be okay.
Great.
Cool. Hey, Chris, what are you up to?
I have a bunch of Christmas stuff I have to take care of with family, but I might be streaming on Christmas Day because the Christmas thing I was going to go do, everybody got COVID.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Now, it was friends, not family, so I'm not sitting here waiting like, is my family all going to die for Christmas? Is that what's going to happen?
No, it's just all your friends.
Only the people hosting the party maybe have COVID that I will find out tomorrow. So if that happens and I don't have anything to do on Christmas, I guess I'll stream Simpsons games.
Oh. Bart's Nightmare.
Yay.
Virtual Bart. Here we go.
You have to pay money for Virtual Bart.
That's
I don't have
fair.
any history with that one. I do have history with Bart's Nightmare.
That's fair. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Big Thing to Mention. Once again, if you're watching live, stick around. We're going to do the year of 2023 gaming news recap. And if you're not watching this live, that video should be up sometime soon as well. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of Big Thing to Mention. Big Thing to Mention is only possible because of you and your support over at patreon.com/GB Podcast, where you can go to get early access to Pokemon Go to the Movies, Chugging Bleach, and a lot of other exclusive content, such as commentary tracks on various things, such as possibly heinous, agenda-fueled Christmas movies.
Oh, no.
That's patreon.com/GB Podcast.